Episode 206. April must have turned off her phone because of him. Aaron was speechless. Had he not made himself clear? Although Emily was not young, she certainly had a dirty mind. Emily turned off the stove and continued, "Is she experiencing cramps? Cramps are what women dread most. During a period, women need to rest and must not be overworked. She should drink more warm water and take more red or brown sugar to soothe her womb and avoid taking cold foods. She should also avoid alcohol and coffee and stay away from strenuous activities. I'm not only referring to activities in bed. This includes running, ball games, and more. She also shouldn't wear tight pants. It'll be uncomfortable." Aaron committed this to memory and asked, "Is there brown sugar?" "Yes, I'll prepare some." Emily reached for the cabinet. "Let me do it. Teach me how. Since she's my woman, I should learn," Aaron said. Emily nodded. "Looks like Aaron has the potential to be a decent man." As he finished preparing the brown sugar drink, Aaron spotted April coming down the stairs with her bag. He saw that she was wearing jeans with a red and white striped sweater. She looked great, but Aaron drew a concerned frown. April ignored him. She walked over to the dining table and picked up a sandwich and an egg. She waved to Emily. "Emily, I'm off to school now." "Stop," Aaron commanded. "You're on your period. You shouldn't go to school." Annoyed by his commanding tone, April decided not to bother him and started walking faster. Aaron could only catch up to her and grab her by the elbow. "You're on your period, so I'm not going to argue with you. I can tolerate all of your unreasonable fusses, but you need to listen to me. It's for your own good." "I'm not that delicate. If I'm not able to go to school when I'm having my period, then how many days of school am I going to miss every month?" April tried to pry herself from his grasp. Aaron sat her down firmly and pressed his hands on her shoulders. "You can't tire yourself out on your period. Look at how hot-tempered you are right now. It must be because of an especially heavy period, so you can't go to school. Stay home and rest today. Have this brown sugar and finish your breakfast, then go up and change into something more comfortable. Stay at home. You can watch television and snack. Just don't go anywhere." "What has my temper got to do with my period?" April was stunned. "That's what I think. I haven't got any other reasons." Aaron brought the brown sugar over. "Have it." April looked at the drink, but she was still frustrated. She felt annoyed by everything she was seeing. Perhaps it could be related to her period. Emily sensed that tension was rising and said hurriedly, "April, Aaron made this drink for you." April felt slightly better, but she could not help but say, "Men are all the same. When we have periods or fall sick, they only know how to tell us to drink more warm water and brown sugar." "All right, I won't say it. I'll just make it for you." Aaron nodded. April pondered for a moment before succumbing to the waves of her period cramps. "I'll have the drink, but you can't stop me from leaving for school." "No, you can't go." How could she go to school while bleeding? What if she suddenly lost consciousness? Already pale initially, April's face suddenly looked even more unpleasant. Emily started to panic and said, "Aaron, actually, it's okay to go to school while on a period as long as she isn't having cramps. You don't have to make a mountain of a molehill." Aaron frowned and asked April, "Are you having dysmenorrhea?" April was feeling a little uncomfortable indeed. However, she was worried that Aaron might not let her go to school, so she shook her head. She was irritated now and she didn't want to see him. "All right, then I'll drive you to school after breakfast," Aaron said, then turned to Emily. "Have something warm and soft," said Emily. Consequently, Aaron made her eat a bowl of warm porridge, a cup of warm milk, and a small bowl of wontons, and forbade her to touch any cold or spicy food. After eating all that, she felt a lot more comfortable. Before leaving, Aaron ordered her to change out of her jeans into something else. April refused to do what he said. "I won't. I always wear jeans during my period. Why can't I wear them this time?" "Because you need to wear something loose." Aaron remembered every word Emily had said and imagined some more details. "Your pants are too tight. They're squeezing your stomach. What if it presses out more blood?" April nearly surrendered to his imagination. "Even if my pants pressed out more blood, it would be static blood." "I don't care. Tight pants aren't good," he said. "I don't care. I don't look pretty in loose pants." She didn't want to do what he said, even though he meant well. Aaron narrowed his eyes and said, "Why do you have to look pretty? You should only think about being pretty in front of me. Whom do you want to be pretty for when you're in school?" April gave up as she was afraid that things might get worse. All right, I'll change. At last, she went upstairs and put on sports pants. Aaron drove her to school. On the way, she ignored him completely and kept looking at her phone. Once they arrived at school, she immediately opened the door and got out of the car. I'll have the chauffeur pick you up this afternoon, Aaron said. April shook her head. No need. I'll sleep at my apartment tonight. I stayed at your villa because I was on vacation. Now I'm back at school. Living in my apartment is more convenient. But you're on your period, and Winnie can't look after you. You'll need to cook for yourself if you live in the apartment. What if you get too tired? Aaron disagreed strongly. April sighed. I survived without you before. Besides, over time, it'll grow boring if we stick together every single day. After saying that, she turned and left. Aaron spent a while looking at her back, then lowered his head to send a message. Before she had walked very far, April received a message from Aaron. It won't be boring. I won't get tired of you, even if we stick together every single day. April rubbed her belly. The pain had faded, but now it was back. He's a pig. A low EQ pig, she thought. Staying away from him during her period seemed to be the right decision to make. Otherwise, he might cause her to bleed to death. Back in school, April clearly realized that her classmates wouldn't say bad things about her behind her back anymore. However, people seemed to be afraid of her and were unwilling to talk to her. That was enough for April. She hadn't come here to make friends. She finished her first class in a state of concentration. During a break, she took out her phone to check her Instagram, then noticed Aaron's newest Instagram moment. Help. My girlfriend is in a bad mood because she's on her period. What should I do? Richard. April's on her period? Buy her more sanitary towels. Sylvia. My future sister-in-law's on her period. You should just shut up. Try not to make her angry. Caitlin. Talk less. Do more. In that instant, April felt as red as a lobster. She felt flushed from her head to her toes. Her cramps started to spread throughout her entire body, and she felt like she could collapse at any moment. She recalled that Aaron used to block certain people while posting on social media, but now, with the exception of Sylvia, he did not even bother. Did he want the whole world to know that she was having her period? She decided that she did not want to go to his company anymore. She would be too embarrassed. She did not want to continue browsing through her social media anymore, so she switched off her smartphone. In the Splingo office, at lunch, Aaron decided to call April, but he was not able to get through. He was vexed. He remembered that April had charged her phone fully the night before, so she could not have run out of battery. Left without a choice, he decided to call Winnie. I haven't been able to get through to April. Did anything happen? No, I just had lunch with her. Winnie was curious. Did you two have an argument? No, she's on her period and is a little moody. Help me keep an eye on her. If she starts feeling unwell, tell me immediately. After Aaron hung up, he noticed that Marvin had entered the room carrying 2 huge boxes. Mr. Bennett, these are sanitary pads for your girlfriend. There are 2 boxes of them. Marvin placed the boxes to the side. There were already a few stacked up in the corner. Apparently, they're imported from Japan. They're quite authentic. So many of them. When will April finish using them? Aaron crossed his arms and frowned. Marvin did not know what to say. Who asked you to announce your girlfriend's period on social media? Now all of the company executives who follow you on Instagram know about this. Including these 2 boxes, there are already a total of 10, and I'm sure there are more on the way. Everybody only knows how to bootlick nowadays. They don't do their jobs properly. Forget it. Leave them there. April will need them anyway. April shook his head and started to work at his computer. After a while, he realized that Marvin had not budged. He looked as if he had something to say. Mr. Bennett, I accidentally overheard your call earlier. Did Miss April reject your calls? Aaron's face was downcast. What would you say? She did not reject my calls. She just turned off her phone. Marvin thought that April must have turned off her phone because of him. However, as his subordinate, he decided not to speak too much. Mr. Bennett, I think you might lose Miss April like this. As he finished his sentence, he saw Aaron looking at him with a piercing gaze. Are you jealous of me because you don't have a girlfriend? Marvin felt helpless. Mr. Bennett, I am jealous, but I'm speaking the truth. You probably don't realize this, but to women, periods are extremely sensitive and private. Most women would get upset at you for posting about it all over your social media. I think Miss April turned off her phone out of anger at you. Really? Aaron suddenly became solemn. Isn't it just bleeding? What is so embarrassing about that? But it is embarrassing where they bleed from, Marvin whispered. You can ask Miss Bennett if you don't believe me. He was genuinely worried about his boss's low emotional quotient. After dating for so long, he thought that he would have improved tremendously, but evidently not. Aaron considered his words for a while. Between his pride and losing his girlfriend, he decided to call Sylvia. Tell me, if Jeremy told everyone about your period, what would you do? Episode 207. I'll pay for all the sanitary pads that you need in your life. Sylvia answered his question real quick. I'd kill him, or I wouldn't talk to him for a month at least. Aaron couldn't think of a thing to say. As he remained silent, Sylvia continued smartly. Don't tell me that you didn't block people when posting your Instagram moment today. Still, Aaron said nothing. Sylvia gasped and said, I thought you only showed it to a few people who are close with you. Mom and I are fine, but I think you should block Richard. He's a man after all. I wanted to ask you that question this morning, but I was too busy, so I forgot. Aaron didn't want to say anything as he already felt cold sweat oozing down his back. Brother, you said in the Instagram moment that April was in a bad mood. What happened? Based on her brother's hopelessly low EQ and narcissistic personality, Sylvia decided to ask the second question. She's on her period, didn't I mention that? Aaron replied impatiently. Sylvia sighed and said, Brother, girls won't be happy for no reason, not even during their periods. There's gotta be a reason. Then maybe it was because she bled on the sheet, Aaron guessed. Sylvia rubbed her forehead. Can't be that. Didn't you call me to tell me that April was being grumpy because of Sheng Wei last night? Maybe that's the reason. Speaking of, I explained that to her and she touched my head. But in the end, she made me sleep on the couch. Aaron suddenly remembered something. But this morning I saw her wash the sheet. I thought that she was unreasonable because her period came. Sylvia didn't understand how her brother was able to have a girlfriend with such a super low EQ. She felt sorry for April. Then it must be because you didn't make it clear enough, or maybe you explained it the wrong way and that made her unhappy. Every girl is sensitive about their boyfriend's ex-girlfriends. Tell me, how'd you explain it last night? Aaron stayed silent for a while and then said, I don't feel like telling you. That's our private business. Sylvia was exasperated. You told everyone that she's on her period. How can you even talk about privacy? If you don't let me help you, April won't talk to you for a month. Aaron reluctantly told her sister about what had happened the previous night. After he finished, Sylvia fell silent. He asked, Why aren't you saying anything? Yeah, even I, your sister, don't want to talk to you anymore, let alone April. Sylvia sighed and said, I just realized that April's such a great person. She sacrificed herself so that you won't go to harm other women. Hearing that made Aaron unhappy. I explained it well. I really don't understand you women. Sylvia sneered and said, I really don't know what to say to you. Right in front of your girlfriend, you said that your ex is perfect. What's in your brain? April was being extra nice to let you sleep on the couch. I wouldn't have done the same if I were her. Aaron disagreed, saying, But no matter how perfect my ex is, I'm with her now, right? Like I said, being imperfect is also a type of beauty. Who cares about all that? All in all, what you were saying was that your ex is perfect, but April is not. Let me tell you something. Girls hate boys complaining other girls in front of them. You shouldn't praise another girl in front of her, and you shouldn't say that she's not perfect. You've made 2 mistakes in a row, and then you recklessly posted on Instagram moments about her period. Oh my, wish yourself luck. You should consider yourself very lucky if she doesn't break up with you. Aaron stood up from his leather chair, cold sweat streaming down his forehead. At that moment, he seemed to finally realize how serious this whole thing was. What is done. Tell me, what should I do? He asked. Sylvia was going to ignore him, but she felt sorry for him for being alone for so long. So she finally replied, You should send her a bouquet of her favorite flowers and add a card to apologize. What flowers does she like? Do you know? Sylvia raised her hand to her forehead. Don't tell me you've never bought her flowers before. Oh God, unbelievable. She's such a great girlfriend. Sylvia sighed. Men these days don't even buy flowers for their girls. What's so great about flowers? They will wilt eventually. All those florists should pack up their business then. Sylvia was frustrated. Flowers are pretty, even for someone like me who hangs around men all the time. I would appreciate flowers too. I'm sure April is someone who would enjoy them as well. Chocolates, too. Never forget chocolate and flowers during special occasions like Valentine's Day. You need to send her a red packet online on Children's Day, too, to tell her that you will spoil her like your own child. Aaron was dizzy from all that she was telling him. A woman feels the most vulnerable when they're having their period. You should send her some warm meals all day. Dessert and cakes would be good, too. Don't let her cook for you today. I can't cook anything other than steak. Pardon me, but you don't even cook steak well, Sylvia said unceremoniously. I'm not talking about your culinary skills now. It's the thought that matters. If you're willing to put in the effort, she will be moved by your actions. Anyway, you should listen to her and give in to all of her requests during her period. After they hung up, Aaron was in deep thought. He thought of himself as an expert at dating after so long, but after what Sylvia had just told him, he realized that he was far from being perfect. At 3:00 in the afternoon, April finished her last class and her cramps were killing her. She gave up on plans to study at the library and headed back to the apartment to rest. Winnie was back home not before long. She asked, "What's wrong?" "Mr. Bennett called me. Did you turn off your phone?" "Don't talk about him. It makes my cramps worse." April waved her away. "Wasn't it going quite well?" Winnie was baffled. April told her about what had happened grumpily. Winnie was speechless. "I'm not going to bother with him for the next few days." April stood up to go to her room. After napping for a while, Winnie walked into her room with a bouquet of roses and a packed box of dessert. "Marvin sent these over for you just now." April glanced up. She was a little shocked. "Are you sure these are for me? Did Marvin buy these for you?" "I'm just friends with him now. I've explained things clearly." Winnie grinned as she opened the card and the flowers. "My dear April, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked about those things online. I shouldn't have complimented Jenica. You are far more perfect than she is. No, I'll only love you, even if you're imperfect." April was blushing hard as she recited the card. She sat up and snatched the card away. She scrutinized the card, and it really was his handwriting. "Wow, what a display of affection by Mr. Bennett. I have to say, I'm impressed," Winnie teased her. "Impossible. Someone must have told him what to do exactly." April was sure. "You can slowly cultivate someone's emotional quotient," Winnie laughed. "Think about all those things that Mr. Bennett had done for you. Look at the state of Magma Group now. I heard Isaac had been running around looking for help in the industry." Hearing her words, April felt better. Apart from his low EQ, Aaron was nice to her in many ways. And especially, he punished Isaac for bullying her. Winter vacation was coming, so all the TV stations were falling over each other in eagerness to purchase the copyrights of the film and television works. However, she heard that the new films which Magma Group had invested a huge sum of money in had all failed to pass the censorship. Even the TV series they made couldn't pass the censorship. This winter vacation was certainly going to be a hard time for Magma Group. Aside from that, Splinglow lost nearly $2 billion because of her, but Aaron didn't even mention a word about it when he returned. In his heart, she was worth more than $2 billion. April couldn't believe that she was actually worth so much money. "Are you saying that I should just forgive him?" April asked for Winnie's opinion. Winnie paused briefly. She had just started her speech. She had many things to say to her, yet already April was thinking about forgiving him. She didn't even know what to say. At that time, April's phone rang. It was a call from Sylvia. "What? Are you calling to persuade me to forgive your brother?" she said.
"April, you misunderstood me," Sylvia said. "I'm calling to tell you not to forgive my brother too easily."
"She's a fake sister of his, isn't she?" thought April.
"I heard about it from my brother. My brother's EQ is really low,"
said Sylvia angrily.
"I've given him some suggestions about how to make you happy, but I was worried that you might get soft-hearted and forgive him too soon. You need to just ignore him. Make him anxious. Better wait until your period's over. I'm telling him, if you forgive him too soon, he'll think that he's super charming and smart and that you love him deeply."
April actually found Sylvia's words very reasonable. She's really his sister. She knows him so well, she thought.
"Also, don't tell my brother that I told you this. I'm a spy now, and I work only for you. Torture my brother as much as you can."
When they were finished talking, Sylvia quickly ended the call. April couldn't even tell if she found it annoying or funny. How much had Aaron made Sylvia hate him that she would be on her side? "Your future sister-in-law seems to be rather protective over you," Winnie said jokingly. "Yeah." After talking to Sylvia, April was in a much better mood. At dinner time, Winnie was in the kitchen preparing food, while April was lying on the couch watching TV. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. "Must be Mr. Bennet. Don't move. I'll get the door." Winnie walked out and opened the door. She saw Aaron neatly dressed standing by the door. Behind him were over 10 large boxes. Near the elevator, Marvin was carrying more boxes. "Mr. Bennet, are these sanitary pads?" "All of these?" Winnie stuttered. Aaron walked in and now saw April lying on the couch. He said with concern in his voice, "April, are you feeling better?" April was getting curious when she heard what Winnie had said. Then she was stunned when she turned and saw those boxes. Seeing her look at him, Aaron smiled and said, "April, these are all the best sanitary pads from all over the world." April nearly passed out. Winnie opened her mouth wide. "Mr. Bennet, it'll take her over 10 years to use up all these sanitary pads. I don't think they have a long shelf life." Episode 208. Are you unable to resist the temptation of a uniform? "Then I'll grant you permission to use it with her," Aaron said authoritatively. "Thanks." Winnie thought that there was no way they could finish those, even if she chipped in too. "Mr. Bennet, our apartment won't be able to hold so many boxes anyway," she added. Aaron looked around the room and nodded. "I saw it coming. I just brought it up for you to look at. I'll leave 1 or 2 boxes here and take the rest back to Bennet Villa. You can call Marvin up to bring more for you whenever you need." Marvin nearly vomited blood when he heard what Mr. Bennet said as he carried the last box into the apartment. He was supposed to carry them back down again. Winnie looked at him sympathetically. "Luo, you can stay here to talk to Mr. Bennet. I'll go make us some food." "It's all right. You stay and chat with her. I'll cook." "It's all right. You stay and chat with her. I'll cook." Aaron remembered Sylvia's reminder to talk less and do more. He walked briskly into the kitchen. April had a headache. She was glad that he was willing to cook, but she was worried that he would burn the kitchen down at the same time. Winnie saw the look of worry on her face and said, "Let him do his thing. Have you forgotten what Sylvia said?" April agreed with her and started watching television while waiting for dinner to be ready. She could hear various sounds of chopping and slicing coming from the kitchen. April had never seen him use a knife. She was worried that he would cut himself, so she walked into the kitchen to see him chopping up a black-bone chicken. She could tell that it was his first time, as he was in a lot more pain than the chicken on the chopping board. He was dripping with sweat while the chicken was still in one piece. "Why did you come in here, April?" Aaron looked at her. "Have you forgiven me?" "I'm just checking up on you. I'm hungry." April looked at him coldly. "Go home and eat if you don't know how to cook. Don't make a mess over here. I don't have the energy right now to clean up after you as well." "Are you still angry? Have you seen the little card that I sent you? How about the flowers?" Aaron was relieved that she didn't seem like she wanted to break up with him. "Don't mention the flowers." April glared at him. "I don't like red roses. It's way too cheesy. I like champagne roses." "There are champagne roses?" Aaron asked in bewilderment. "I thought there were only red and white roses in the world." He quickly added when she kept quiet, "I'll give you whatever roses that you want. Don't be angry with me anymore. Don't waste your energy on me. You are on your period, and you should maintain a cheerful spirit. I'm not familiar with such things. I didn't know that it was such an awkward thing to talk about for you girls. I won't ever post it on social media again. I've already deleted it. I shouldn't have said that Jenica was perfect either. You are the only perfect one in my heart." April looked at him and almost forgave him on the spot, but she remembered what Sylvia said and decided against it. She was going to give him the cold shoulder for 1 week. "Didn't your mother tell you to talk less and do more?" April said. "You announced to the whole world that I was having my period, and your subordinates gave you so many sanitary pads. How can I forgive you so easily?" Aaron's mouth twitched. "How did you know that they got me the sanitary pads?" "I would have given them to you if I were your subordinate too." April was speechless. Aaron nodded. "My April has both brawn and brains. No wonder you're the most perfect lady in my heart." "Hokey." April turned and walked out. She had goosebumps all over her body. 40 minutes later, Aaron came out of the kitchen with a bowl of burned chicken soup and a pot full of half-cooked rice. Even Winnie couldn't bear watching this. "Mr. Bennet, you're not going to make us eat that, are you?" "Not you. All of this is for my April." Aaron looked at April in the eyes lovingly and said, "But this is all burned. I don't know what to do. However, I tried very hard. Look, my hands are burned." While speaking, he showed April his red hands. April was speechless. Erin was trying to earn her compassion. Marvin smiled and joined the conversation. Mr. Bennett, don't worry. Miss April knew that you wouldn't be able to do it, so she asked me to order takeout. Good. I can't let my April be hungry, Erin nodded. Before he continued talking, Marvin kicked him under the table and whispered, Mr. Bennett, have you forgotten that Miss Bennett said you should talk less? Erin didn't understand. Why couldn't he talk? His voice sounded like a cello. However, he still decided to listen to Sylvia for now. Soon after the food was delivered, Erin attentively put food onto April's plate without saying another word. After dinner, April reviewed her lessons in her bedroom. Erin continued working in the kitchen. At last, he brought April a bowl of lotus seed soup with white fungus. The lotus seeds weren't fully cooked, but it was not unacceptable. April felt flattered. At 10 o'clock at night, April went out to pour herself some water and saw that Erin had quietly spread a blanket out on the couch. It's late. Go home. Don't sleep here. April couldn't help but say to him, Winnie's here. You're a man. She'll feel awkward if you sleep here. You're bleeding. It's serious. I'm worried about you. Erin blinked and said, I know you won't let me in your room, so I'll sleep outside. I won't bother you. Was he trying to earn compassion again? April felt very helpless. It's just my period, no big deal. It's a small thing for you, but it's a big deal for me. Erin laid down on the short couch. All right, you can go to sleep in my room. April couldn't bear watching this. Erin curled his legs and said, No, I won't bother you. Whatever. April poured herself a glass of water, then went back into her bedroom. When April walked into the common area, Winnie looked at her and said, I think I saw Mr. Bennett washing your underwear and hanging it on the balcony. April blushed and said, Don't mention it. I'm so embarrassed. Winnie's half-chewed bread fell out of her mouth. You're embarrassed by that? Gee, I stained it, April said quietly. Enough. Winnie raised her hands in defeat. He doesn't even mind washing your dirty undergarments. You're obviously just showing off your boyfriend. April felt helpless. Winnie said sadly, Why do I get the feeling that you guys are not having a fight, but showing me a display of your affection? You've done it. I'm comparing my relationship to yours now. My boyfriend's never washed my clothes for me. Don't even speak about dirtied undergarments. Lou, should I break up with my boyfriend? April was shocked. She didn't expect Winnie to be this affected. Don't. You're in Rosewood City to chase after your dreams because of him. Your dream of becoming a singer. Winnie sighed. Don't make things difficult for him any longer. I say just patch things up with him. So what if he has an ex-girlfriend? I don't think he ever washed her undergarments. April was touched after thinking about what Winnie said. She might not even wash his undergarments so willingly as he did. She didn't need to be so picky with him. As he said, his ex-girlfriend was a thing of the past. When Erin emerged from the balcony, she looked at him gently. Eat some breakfast. You still need to get to work. Erin was stunned. April, you aren't mad at me anymore. Don't post random things on the internet anymore, April said in a hushed tone. You have to filter what you want to say on social media. You're forgiving me so easily? Erin scratched his head in disbelief. Weren't you going to take a drastic stance on this matter? I can't believe you're going to forgive me after one night, Erin thought to himself. He had been prepared to fight long and hard to win her affection back. So you think it's too short? April shot him a glare. No, I know how much you love me. You can't bear to watch me suffer. Erin gave her a wide smile. Sylvia knows nothing, he thought. April sighed. She could guess what he was thinking, but she couldn't be bothered to correct him. Oh, right. I saw Brother Richard commenting on your post yesterday. He has reception there now? Yes, he is on his way back. He'll probably arrive in another 2 to 3 days, Erin replied as he ate his porridge. I'll go get him at the airport, then arrange for Jeremy to be admitted to the hospital. I'll be really busy then and might not be able to come see you. Let me know when you're done. Then I'll go visit him too. He's a good friend of yours after all, April said. I'm curious about him too. What are you curious about? Erin sounded displeased. I have everything that he has and much more. Are you unable to resist the temptation of a uniform? I've worn the military uniform for you before, haven't I? Winnie choked on the porridge she was eating. I'm sorry, I'm still sitting here, guys. I guess I didn't expect you guys to be so wild in the bedroom. Role-playing, April felt knots in her stomach again. There was no way to get him to speak less. Episode 209. Let me introduce your future daughter-in-law to you." In the morning, April got a call from Sylvia.
April, I heard that you forgave my brother.
Sylvia sounded a little unhappy. Yeah. April felt guilty. Sylvia was seriously on her side. She asked, "Did your brother tell you?"
Yeah, and he was really proud.
Sylvia continued.
He said that I was making a fuss and that you didn't want him to suffer anything rough. He also said that all of my concern was for nothing.
April covered her stomach. She regretted forgiving him too soon. He had acted exactly as she thought he would. Sylvia sighed and said,
April, how can you be so soft-hearted? I told you to wait for a week. If you can't do that, you should at least make it 3 days. But you gave up after one single night. If my brother ever pisses you off again, I'll only say that you have no one to blame but yourself.
April felt upset as well. A while later, she said, "Do you need sanitary napkins? Your brother's employees gave so many of them to me, I think it'll take more than 10 years for me to use them all up. They are the best from all over the world, so I don't want to waste them." Sylvia stayed silent for a few seconds, then burst out into laughter.
Oh my, all right, you win. Forget it. As my future sister-in-law, you're pretty miserable. I won't blame you.
April gave a bitter smile and said, "I heard from your brother that Jeremy is coming back soon. You're happy, aren't you?"
I am. You need to meet my Jeremy when he's back. You'll see how handsome he is, and then you'll understand that my brother is really not so good. Don't treat him like a treasure.
April didn't know how to respond. At noon, April got an unexpected call while having lunch. It was from Jennifer, whom she had briefly met in Shanghai.
April, are you in Rosewood City?
"Yeah," April jokingly reminded her.
Last time, you said that you wanted me to do voice acting for you. I've been expecting you. I've been working abroad the past few days, and I just got back. And our company has been purchased by Splingo, so things have been shaken up recently. I finally have a new manager. Currently, my team and I are learning how to get along well with each other. Everything's finally back on the right track, so I contacted you the first time I had a chance. Jennifer laughed and said, Your winter vacation will start in a week. By then, you should fly to our company to sign the contract.
"Are you sure?" April was both shocked and surprised, but soon she became unsure. "Is your company still in Lukesville?"
Yes.
Jennifer understood her feelings.
You need to come back sooner or later, don't you? I don't have a lot of time in Lukesville. It's the end of the year and I'm rather busy, so we should sign that contract. The sooner the better. You'll be just in time for the voice acting on my new TV series.
"All right. I'm going back to visit my father in prison anyway," said April.
I'll see you then.
Before bed that night, April told Aaron about Jennifer's call. "You're going to Lukesville?" Aaron asked with a frown. "Can't you postpone it for a few days? Jeremy has just come back and my work in the company isn't finished yet. I might not have the time to go with you now." "It's okay. I'll only stay there for 2 days." April smiled and said, "That place, I don't want to stay there for that long anyway." "You shouldn't," Aaron agreed. That place was full of her memories with Isaac. After saying that, Aaron turned around and rubbed April's neck with his head while saying, "April, your period. When will it end? I've been holding something back for days and I'm really suffering now." April blushed. "Didn't you say that I shouldn't get tired these days? It may take 3 or 4 days for it to end completely." "So long?" Aaron asked. He then opened an app on his phone and started doing something with it. April peered over curiously. She was shocked to see a menstrual counter application on his phone. "What are you doing with that app? How do you even know about that app?" April asked in bewilderment. "For you. I heard about it from my secretary." Aaron started recording her information in the application. April was touched. She didn't expect him to be this meticulous. Before she could reach out to hug him from behind, he said, "Technology is really advanced now. I can predict your next period accurately with this application. I'll schedule our seaside vacation accordingly." April froze. Aaron continued, "Since we're going to have a passionate night together, we should avoid those days, shouldn't we?" April lowered her arms quietly. She turned her back towards him. She had overestimated him. The next morning, April was awakened by the sound of Aaron talking on the phone. "All right, no need to be anxious. He's only arriving at 11 o'clock. There won't be any traffic." "Sylvia?" April asked as she rubbed her eyes. After he hung up, he turned to look at her. "You want to go with me?" April was stunned. She laughed. "Aren't you afraid that I'll be captivated by his uniform?" No. Aaron shook his head. He can't even stand. He'll be looking ill in a wheelchair. April was speechless. He was vicious with his words. All right, I'll go with you. I only have one class today anyway. After class, Aaron headed over to pick Sylvia up before going to the airport. Sylvia had put on some light makeup. She looked more alluring than usual, different from the severe impression that she usually gave. After 5 minutes, Richard and Mr. Raymond emerged from the immigration checkpoint with a man in a wheelchair. It was the first time April had seen him in real life, and he looked even more handsome than in his photos. However, he also looked tired and weary, and his complexion was pale. His eyes, however, were still lively and bright. Jeremy! Sylvia rushed forward to hug him. Richard! Jeremy gave her a light smile and patted her head wearily. Your hair's grown so long. Didn't you promise to marry me once my hair grew out? Sylvia pouted and hugged him even tighter. She only released him when she felt him wince under her tight embrace. All right, stop hugging him. He's got wounds on his chest. Aaron led April towards them and pulled Sylvia away. This is... Jeremy was a little stunned when he saw April. On our way back, Richard told me that you had found a girlfriend. I guess it's true. This is April Eisenberg. This is Jeremy Carter. I've told you before that Richard was a gift from him. Aaron introduced the two. Hello. April smiled at him. Jeremy smiled politely at her as he tugged Sylvia's hand. Let's go to the hospital. I'm tired after being on the road for so many days. All right, let's go. Sylvia pushed his wheelchair towards the exit. A few people followed them. They were split into 2 vehicles on their way to the hospital. April was with Aaron. After about half an hour on the road, April suddenly asked, Why do I get the feeling that your friend isn't really warming up to me? Aaron glanced at her. It'd be troublesome if he liked you. You are my girlfriend after all. April choked. I'm not referring to that. What kind of like were you talking about? The kind between friends? Aaron said blandly. You're not friends, so he surely can't like you. Don't think too much. You only need to like me. April found that she wasn't able to communicate with Aaron about feelings. However, she thought carefully and felt that he was probably right. It was the first time Jeremy had met her, and he knew nothing about her. So indeed, he didn't have a reason to like her. She didn't like him either. She was just curious about him because of Sylvia. Thinking this way, she stopped struggling over this question. As they arrived at the military region hospital, Jessica was there too. She had a weird look on her face upon seeing April. Right at that moment, a doctor called Jeremy's family and said, The medical facilities where Jeremy came from aren't good enough, and with the long travel time, his wounds are getting pretty serious. He'd better stay in the hospital for a week. Auntie, I'll look after Jeremy. I've already asked for time off, Sylvia offered. Jessica smiled, however, before she could answer, Jeremy said in a soft voice, My mother has hired a carer for me. You don't need to be here at night. You can come here in daytime. But, Sylvia pouted. You, Jessica glanced at Jeremy and said discontentedly, You're rarely sick. Sylvia just wants to seize the time to be with you. She'll keep you company. The hospital's dirty and she can't sleep well here. Jeremy frowned helplessly. All right, in that case, let's do what Jeremy said, Aaron said to Sylvia. You'll sleep at home. Sylvia gave him a threatening glance. At that moment, someone knocked on the door to the ward. Everyone turned to look at the door and saw David and his chauffeur walking in carrying a bunch of fruit and nutritional supplements. Jeremy, are you feeling better? Asked David. I'm here to see you. Uncle, I just got here and you're already showing up. You're really different, Jeremy said jokingly. David laughed and said, Haha, I have to. You're my future son-in-law. However, the grin on his face froze when he saw April, who was standing beside Aaron. Mr. Bennett. April didn't like him as she had heard his story. However, he was Aaron's father after all, so she greeted him politely. David didn't look at April, but turned to his son with a dark face and said, Isn't this your gossip girlfriend that everyone talked about earlier? Didn't you break up? We broke up for a couple of days. Now we're back together. Aaron held April's hand and said, Let me introduce you to your future daughter-in-law. You. David's face twisted slightly. However, he controlled himself, as many people were on the scene. Remembering his important purpose, he didn't lose his temper, but turned to Mr. Raymond, smiled, and asked, Raymond, at this age, how's your journey to the border? It was too much to take. Raymond waved his hands and laughed. Thankfully, Aaron and Richard were with me. As we're all here now, I want to talk about the wedding. Jeremy and Sylvia have been engaged for years. As Jeremy is taking injury leave this time, I think they should hold a wedding at New Year's. We don't want any further delay. We're thinking the same thing. David looked delighted. There are quite a few lucky dates after New Year's. I think Jeremy should always be a soldier away from home. Next year, I'll find a way to transfer him back to Rosewood City. Uncle Bennett, Dad, I want to stay in the army, Jeremy said abruptly. The ward fell into silence. Sylvia stared at him, confused. Episode 210. April, come down quickly. My brother is here. I'd be honored to stay in my position, Jeremy said with pride. Auntie Jessica immediately smacked the back of his head. You may be honored, but you considered your father's and my feelings? We're constantly living in fear and in worry. I nearly fainted when I heard that you were shot this time around. Have you thought about Sylvia, to whom you're promised? She's a policewoman now, solely because of you. How can you tell us that you will still want to stay in the troops? I'll have to teach you a lesson on her behalf. Uncle Raymond was furious too. Transfer? You have to transfer back. You're not my son if you don't do the transfer. Dad, didn't you tell me from the time I was young that I must be prepared to sacrifice myself for our country when I entered the army? Jeremy frowned. Before Uncle Raymond could reply, Sylvia croaked. You don't have to contribute to our country in his manner. I'm a policewoman and I'm serving our citizens all the same. Even if you don't transfer back home, you can stay in the Rosewood City military camp and train other soldiers. Jeremy, don't you love me anymore? Jeremy was shocked. He raised his head and saw her eyes turn red. His heart ached when he saw the sadness in her eyes. Of course not. Richard, don't read too much into this. You can tell me if you don't love me anymore, it's okay. I'm not the kind to pester you incessantly. Sylvia shrugged. I've done my best to respect your decisions and adhere to what we agreed upon at the beginning. I've waited for you patiently for so many years, only to have you to tell me that you want to continue to stay there? How can you expect me to sacrifice each time? If you had told me right from the start that you never wanted to come back, I might not have spent my days waiting for your return with anticipation. I don't think you even want to marry me anymore after hearing all this. She turned and left after speaking her mind. David had calmed down. Raymond, you should speak with your son. Sylvia wasn't wrong in saying all that. It's okay if he doesn't want to go through with the marriage anymore. We can call off the engagement. I just don't want to waste any more of my daughter's time. I admit that Jeremy is an outstanding young man, but there are plenty of other impressive suitors out there. Truthfully, I'm very disappointed in you, Jeremy. You're being very selfish here. He turned to leave when he finished, but stopped at the door and looked at Aaron. You come out here too. Aaron frowned and led April out of the room. David looked at April with a cold expression. Don't tell me you're really marrying this woman. I'm okay with you dating her, but marriage is out of the question. April frowned. She couldn't believe all the obstacles placed in front of her just to be with the man she loved. What position are you in to tell me this? Aaron asked calmly. I'm telling you this as your father, of course. David was outraged by his son's impudence. You don't have the right to tell me this. Don't forget what you've done. I can't believe you're telling me this without any sense of embarrassment. Aaron smirked. If I were to listen to you, I guess I should also go sleep around with my best friend's wife. You. David glanced over at April. His face was red with both anger and embarrassment. I might listen to my mother if she came over to talk to me, but I'll never pay any attention to what you say, Aaron said coolly. I'm only acknowledging you because of Grandpa and Grandma, so don't flatter yourself too much. Mother has already approved of April, so did maternal Grandma and Grandpa. Don't stir up any more trouble. Isn't your mother being ridiculous? I think she has always been ridiculous. After all, she did marry you in the first place. The wisest thing she did in her life was give birth to me. Aaron smirked again and walked off with April. April turned around and found that David was so angry he even seemed to have had a heart attack. She felt that David had been terribly weak in front of Aaron, and that the latter had defeated him effortlessly. However, she still was uncomfortable. Aaron, what if your grandparents on your father's side don't want us to be together either? She felt that her heart was tired. We can act first and report afterward. Aaron thought for a moment and then said, I'll be 30 next year. Being a dad would be nice. If we start trying this year, we will have a chubby boy next fall. What year is next according to the zodiac? The corners of April's mouth twitched slightly, as she felt that Aaron was thinking too far ahead. I haven't even finished college yet, she said, and I need to take an internship. You're right. You're right. Erin glanced at her with regret and said, Then we'll wait for 2 more years. That's not bad, though, as we can have some passionate days. You see, you've been living an asexual life for over 20 years, and me for about 30. So once we start, we must do it frequently to nourish our bodies. Under his gaze, April felt that her entire body was going to burst into flames. She hurriedly changed the topic. I think Sylvia isn't feeling so good. I should go find her. Hearing her mention that, Erin wore a sullen look. I didn't think that Jeremy would say it out loud just now. I'm very disappointed in him. But it's almost 1, so let's have some lunch. April contacted Sylvia while having lunch. Learning that the latter had gone home, she ordered some food for takeout. Erin drove her to Sylvia's place. Seeing April carrying the takeout, he smiled and said, You, as her future sister-in-law, are getting nicer and nicer. April, you've done so much for me, and I'll remember it all. April blushed and said, I'm not doing it for you. I do like Sylvia. So that's what love me, love my dog means, Erin nodded. April waved at him, then went upstairs as she felt that she wasn't able to communicate with Erin at the moment. Sylvia lived alone in a 3-bedroom apartment. When Sylvia opened the door, April could see that her hair was disheveled and her eyes were red. Obviously, she had been crying. April walked in and said, Have some lunch. The apartment was a little messy and seemed to not have been cleaned in a long time. Bowls of instant noodles were thrown in the trash and all sorts of snacks were scattered on the couch. I have no appetite. Sylvia waved her hands, then threw herself onto the couch, picking up the snacks to ease her sadness. April was a little speechless. You have no appetite, yet you're eating so many snacks, she thought. At that moment, Sylvia's phone rang. The screen showed Jeremy's name. Sylvia was gazing at the phone screen. April reached out and refused the call. April, don't answer it. April sat beside her and said, If you ask me, I'd say that you care too much about him. I don't know about your stories, but I think if he wants to stay in the army, he should have been frank with you and told you about it earlier. He should ask you if you're willing to accept a long-distance marriage with him. Many army wives are only able to see their husbands a few times a year, but their marriages work. However, he's never had a conversation with you about it or asked for your opinion, even though you're his fiancée. Yeah, I've gotten through all these years. In fact, as long as he still loves me, I'll accept a long-distance marriage. What made me sad is that he never really thinks about my position. Sylvia gave a bitter smile and said, Do you think that he doesn't care so much about me anymore because we've been parted for so long? April didn't know how to respond. But, Sylvia continued, how can he not care about me? I'm excellent. I'm so pretty, so smart. And my family's so rich. April still didn't know what to say. Sylvia's words sounded so familiar to her. Don't be sad anymore. He might come to look for you. April thought about it further and continued, Even if he doesn't, it might not be a bad thing. If he's waiting for you to compromise, then I don't think he's the right one for you. To be honest, you've sacrificed so much for him. I don't think you should be the one sacrificing for the rest of your life. Sylvia fell silent. April stood up. All right, let's not mope around at home. Let's go out and grab something to eat and drink. All right, Sylvia agreed reluctantly. The two of them walked around the main streets the entire afternoon, and they entered a barbecue shop at around 5 o'clock for dinner. Before they could start on their dinner, Erin called April.
Where are you girls?
I'm having dinner at a barbecue restaurant with Sylvia. April was still fumbling with the grill with her free hand. It smells pretty good so far.
Are you back at the same restaurant? Do you know that they are only certified B for their hygiene, don't you?
Erin said with disgust. Mind your own business. I'm not asking you to eat here with me. I'm enjoying the food here without you, April said grumpily.
Head home early after this. I'm out for a business gathering, but I'll come over when I'm done,
Erin said. But I promised Sylvia that we'd go to the bar after this.
Why are you going to the bar when you're on your period?
Erin chided her lightly. I won't be drinking. I just wanted to keep her company since she's not in a great mood. She'll probably let her thoughts run wild if she stays at home by herself. You should empathize with her as her brother, April whispered.
Why is she making a big deal out of this breakup?
Erin asked coldly. Oh, really? Do you want to try breaking up? April threatened.
All right, you go ahead. It's quite heartbreaking when you get out of a relationship,
Erin said. After dinner, Sylvia and April headed straight to the bar. April wasn't planning on drinking, but Sylvia pleaded for her to drink. She said that it wasn't any fun for her to drink by herself. Richard, it's not a good idea for both of us to be drunk at the bar. Don't worry, I know people around here. I'm always on patrol in this district anyway. No one will dare do anything to us. Sylvia started pouring her a drink. After a couple of cocktails, April felt dizzy. But because of Sylvia's reassurances, she decided to let herself go and picked up a couple more drinks. After half an hour, Sylvia was shocked as she watched April dance crazily in the center of the dance floor. Was this the same demure, proper girl that she knew? At that moment, Erin called her.
Which bar are you guys at? Why isn't April picking up? I'm coming to get you guys.
Well...
Speak,
Erin said harshly as he sensed her trepidation. Actually, April is drunk, Sylvia said truthfully.
How long have you guys been there? Drunk already? Isn't she on her period? Does she want to lose all of her blood?
Erin said, annoyed. He wanted to knock some sense into April.
Put her on the line.
She's drunk. She won't be able to take the phone, Sylvia stuttered over the phone.
What? I'm coming over immediately.
Sylvia knew how easily her brother got jealous over things, so she rushed forward and grabbed April by her arm. April, come down quickly. My brother's here. Your brother? I'm not afraid of him. April flung her arms about and yelled over the deafening music. I've had enough of him. He doesn't even let me come into any contact with males. I'm going to enjoy myself tonight. Episode 211. Come on, kiss me. Sylvia got nervous for her. If you don't come down, my brother will punish me, she said. Don't be afraid. I'll protect you. I'll punish him for you. Tonight, I'll let him know who's the boss. April pushed her away and continued dancing. She even took down her hair and undid the buttons near her collarbones, making herself look young and hot. The men around her all turned to her with glowing eyes. Sylvia believed that her brother would even want to kill her if he came here and saw this. So she hurriedly took out her police ID and said, I'm a police officer. If you get close to my sister-in-law, I'll sue you for harassing her, and I'll arrest you. Psycho, the group of men complained. However, the smart ones did keep a distance from April. When Erin arrived, he saw his girlfriend dancing excitedly on the stage like an evil fairy. A group of men was dancing around her. They weren't touching her, but they had all cast their burning eyes on her. Sylvia sat aside, upset, holding April's coat. She saw her brother, and his cold face made her shiver. Brother, I'll make you pay later. Erin raced onto the stage and grabbed April's hand to drag her down. April suddenly grabbed a man near her and screamed, Help! He's harassing me! I'm her boyfriend. Erin was so angry that his eyes even turned as April actually dared to grab another man in front of him. He pulled her hand away from the man, then carried her on his shoulder and quickly left. Sylvia hurriedly followed behind him. She saw that April was kicking and hitting Erin, but he refused to let her go. She even started pulling his hair. Watching that, Sylvia couldn't stop gasping. It was really easy for April to lose control after getting drunk. If she had known that, she wouldn't have brought her there. Erin felt her pulling out his hair. With some solid effort, he finally put her into the car. However, she immediately struggled, stared at him, and yelled while burping, I have a boyfriend. What do you want to do to me, you ugly man? Open your eyes and see who I am. Am I ugly? I have such a handsome face, yet you called it ugly. You're really drunk. Erin buckled her up, then turned back to ask Sylvia angrily, how much did she drink to get so drunk? 5 cocktails. Sylvia blinked and said, I really didn't know that she could get drunk so easily. Get into the car and keep an eye on her, Erin said to Sylvia, then quickly started the car and drove toward Bennett Villa. In the back seat, April stuck her head between the front seats like a child and then began singing, Happy breakup, you'll find a better one. Shut up, can't you sing a better song? Erin's heart even twitched. April curved her lips downward, then began singing, Freedom, when you wipe your tears and close in no direction. The world is vast. Stop singing, Erin growled at her. He was fond of her singing, but not these kinds of songs. The drunk April threw a threatening glance at him, then turned around and continued singing, Breakup should be decent, but no one says sorry. Erin couldn't think of a word to say. Sylvia glanced at her brother and said, Brother, how much does my future sister-in-law want to break up with you? Shut up! Erin now even wanted to beat his girlfriend to death. The other girls would flirt with their boyfriends in all sorts of passionate and jazzy ways when they were drunk. But she was so different. She didn't even kiss him, and she had pulled his hair so hard. They finally got back to Bennett Villa. The moment Sylvia opened the car door, Richard came running towards them, barking happily. Sylvia was going to pet him on his head when April burst out and swept Richard up. She said, "Aaron, aren't you staying out late for a business dinner? What are you doing home so early?" Emily walked out and witnessed the scene in disbelief. Sylvia was clutching her stomach as she burst out laughing. She felt her day brighten up almost immediately. Aaron helped April up grumpily. "Look at it properly. I'm Aaron. That's just the dog." "Nonsense. You are the dog. Don't try to take advantage of me just because I had a couple of drinks. I'm extremely sober." April held onto Richard tightly and pouted. "Aaron, why do you have so much hair? It's only been a couple of hours since I last saw you, but you do have very soft fur, don't you?" "Ha ha!" Sylvia was almost rolling on the ground. April was running her hands through the dog's fur and continued through half-shut eyelids. "Oh, right. Did you tell me that your balls ached? Let me have a feel, my little Aaron. I haven't felt it in a while." "Oh my God, I can't." Sylvia was now wheezing. "I didn't know you were so liberal, brother. Blue balls and all." Aaron couldn't help but blush, even with his thick skin. He couldn't let her blabber on further. He reached forward and forcefully separated Richard from April. "Let go of me. My Aaron has sore balls." April stomped her feet. Aaron was on the verge of strangling her. She was acting the complete opposite of her usual self. Everyone was watching them. Emily, Butler Derek, and Sylvia. After getting her upstairs, she was finally worn out. She collapsed on the bed, fast asleep. Aaron hesitated before bending down and saying to her, "April, you said you wanted to touch my little Aaron just now. It's just us now. You can go ahead." Richard, don't bother me." April covered her head with the duvet. "Richard? Did she just call me Richard?" Aaron's face was dark, and he shook her arms violently. "Can Richard speak?" April's eyes were glued shut, and she wouldn't wake. Aaron finally gave up. He went on to remove her shoes defeatedly. The next morning, April woke up with a throbbing headache. When she finally sat upright, she realized that she was sleeping in Bennett Villa, and Aaron was lying beside her with his arms around her waist. She was stunned. She only remembered being at the bar with Sylvia. She looked down to see herself in a fresh set of clothes. Even her underwear had been changed, and she had a new sanitary pad on. She blushed. Had he changed her last night? "You're awake." Aaron's eyes fluttered open and watched her intently. "Last night, how did I get here?" April hedged her question. "You bathed me?" "Of course, I was the one who brought you back." Aaron looked at her with his poker face. "Who else are you expecting to bathe you?" April was about to break down. She couldn't believe that he had bathed her while she was on her period. She laid back down and covered her face with the duvet in embarrassment. "Get up! Do you know what you did last night?" Aaron pulled the sheets off of her. "You were grinding with a bunch of strangers on the dance floor. You even sang the breakup song to me. What do you think you're doing?" "How can that be possible? I rarely go to bars, and why would I sing Happy Breakup?" April shook her head, confused. "I am asking the questions now." Aaron's handsome face wore an unhappy expression as he glared at her. "You sang many songs about breaking up. I only know the name of one of them. It's Happy Breakup. Don't deny it. Go and ask Sylvia if you don't believe me." April rubbed the back of her neck, wondering if she had really done all those things. She had never gotten so drunk before, so she didn't know what she would do after getting drunk. She couldn't remember what had happened last night. "It's said that people will speak out some of their real thoughts when they're drunk. Are you tired of me? Do you want to break up with me?" Aaron growled in a deep voice, displeased. "You'd better give me a perfect reason." I like singing breakup songs. Do you have a problem with it?" Being yelled at by him so early in the morning, April started feeling uncomfortable. So she yelled back at him. "What if I can't give you a perfect reason? Are you going to break up with me? Come on, try." Before she could finish, Aaron threw her onto the bed and pressed his thin lips violently against hers. "Not allowed to break up with me," he said in a deep, dry voice. "I don't want to hear any breakup songs ever again." His dark eyes sparkled with fear. April's heart shivered slightly. She suddenly remembered that last night he had cleaned her when she was so drunk, despite the fact that she was pretty dirty. She guessed that the other men wouldn't be willing to do that for a girl, no matter how much they liked her. Thinking of that, she wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed him back. Aaron paused briefly, then held her and turned over, making her lay on top of him. He opened his lips slightly, his eyes glowing brightly. "Come on, kiss me," he said. Seeing the impatient man lying beneath her, April felt that being with him was sometimes a bit like masochism. "Why am I on top?" she asked. Aaron thought for a moment and then replied, "So you'll seem to be very into me." With no other choice, April slowly kissed him under his eager gaze. Then Aaron immediately contained her lips in his mouth. April tried to support her body's weight at first, but as he kissed her, her limbs went soft and she eventually threw her weight completely onto him. The kiss lasted for quite a while. Then Aaron abruptly grabbed April's hand and put it downward. April shivered as she blushed and bit his lip. She mumbled, "What are you doing?" "April, you said that you'd touch my little brother last night, but you haven't yet. You need to be responsible for your words," Aaron said seriously. April felt extremely embarrassed. "How could I possibly have said that?" "You actually did. I'm not lying." Aaron stared at her, his eyes showing an honest look. As he stared at her, April wanted to hide under the bed. "How many more things did I do last night?" Aaron stayed silent for a moment, then decided not to tell her that she had talked about his aching balls right in front of Sylvia. He didn't want her to become too embarrassed to go downstairs today. "Nothing more. Hurry up. Comfort my little brother." Half an hour later, a well-dressed, refreshed Aaron and a blushing April went downstairs. Sylvia was in the dining room preparing to have breakfast. She threw a meaningful glance at the two of them and said, "Brother, April, you're up so early." "I have class," April said and sat down feeling a little awkward. "Richard, last night..." "April, I won't take you to bars anymore. It's too easy for you to lose control after getting drunk." Receiving a threatening glance from her brother, Sylvia hurriedly added, "But you're good at singing." Episode 212. I'll capture both his body and heart. "Don't talk about singing. Eat your breakfast." Aaron glared at her. Sylvia wiggled her brows and drank some milk. She suddenly picked up a plate and said, "There are eggs here." April was baffled. She could tell that they were eggs. Sylvia was looking at her suggestively. Sylvia continued by placing an egg on the table and cracked it with her silver spoon. "Look, the egg's broken." "Yeah, broken. You can eat it now," April said. Aaron had a bad feeling in his tummy. "I bet the eggs hurt." Sylvia picked up the egg and started peeling the eggshell slowly. Aaron clamped his legs tightly together without realizing it. His face was dark. What was that little brat hinting at? April was stunned. Suddenly she remembered what had happened the night before and she couldn't help but blush. However, she continued having her breakfast as if nothing had happened. She was eating when she felt like something was amiss. Sylvia was definitely acting strange. She looked over at Aaron and he had a funny expression too. She asked, "Did I do something else last night?" Sylvia snickered. April was as sensitive as usual. "Nothing." Aaron shot Sylvia a glare. "Eat your damn egg. You look like you're high-spirited today. Have you heard anything from Jeremy?" "A real brother indeed." Sylvia grinned at him. "I ignored him the whole of last night, and he texted me this morning to tell me that we can start prepping for our wedding after the Lunar New Year. If I strongly object to him staying at the camp, he'll compromise." Aaron's expression softened. "He should have said so from the beginning. Well, then the two families should meet to talk about the wedding soon. It might be difficult to get a booking at the hotels at the beginning of the year." Sylvia nodded. "April, you should come along and pick my wedding accessories and my wedding dress with me." "She's not free. She's going to Australia with me on vacation." April was stunned. "I thought we were going after the Lunar New Year." "Since she's marrying after the Lunar New Year, we should go before then. Thank goodness I haven't booked anything yet." Sylvia was speechless. "Must you arrange a vacation then?" "Of course." Aaron looked at her coldly. How could he not be anxious about his first time? April acted like she was clueless and asked him innocently, "Which part of Australia are we going to? Why didn't you tell me about it earlier?" "I just decided on the location recently." Aaron grinned. "Let's go to the Whitsundays Islands. I heard that the view there is superb, especially the aerial view. It's too cliché to go to Bali or the Maldives nowadays. We can go diving, parasailing, surfing, and skydiving over there." April's legs trembled when she heard him. Except for diving, she was terrified of the idea of doing everything else. She wasn't even that comfortable with water activities. Sylvia couldn't help but interject, "Brother, I don't think these activities are suitable for girls." "I know, but April is no ordinary girl," Aaron said proudly. April was frustrated. "I'm sorry, but I'm just an ordinary girl. I'm not suited for these activities. I just want to sunbathe peacefully over there. Aaron looked at her with disgust, but he finally conceded. Fine, but you must wear bikinis then. Ha! Sylvia spit out the milk in her mouth. Good God, her brother was too straightforward. April silently lowered her head, hid her eyes under her bangs, and pretended to not have heard it. But I really want to go with you. I haven't had a vacation abroad for a long time, Sylvia sighed. Why don't we go together after I marry Jeremy? Can he travel abroad? Aaron asked. If you want to travel with Jeremy, you can only travel within the country for the rest of your life. Don't even think about impossible things. Aaron suddenly felt extra lucky that he hadn't stayed in the army. He was really looking forward to the journey. The more he thought about it, the more excited he was. He even ate faster. I'm done. I'm leaving for the company, he said. April paused. So soon? Aaron raised his brows and said excitedly, Yes, I want to finish my work as soon as possible. Hopefully our vacation will start right after you're back from Rosewood City. April didn't respond. Winter break was coming. All the students had started packing their bags, preparing to go home for New Year's. When April and Winnie had left school the day before winter vacation, Ryan was there too. April, come visit my family during winter vacation. My mom says that you're so ungrateful. You never visited her after leaving with Aaron. April was a little embarrassed. Jessica had invited her a few times, but Aaron had been keeping her on a tight leash. Even though he needed to work every day, he kept track of her whereabouts 24/7 via phone. I've been busy with classes lately. Please tell my godmother that I'll definitely visit her, but at the beginning of this year. I'm going on vacation to Australia with Aaron. All right. Ryan curved his lips downwards in slight disappointment and then said, Remember to bring me a gift then. Sure, what kind of gift do you want? I heard the Uggs aren't bad. Bring me a pair. You got it. And I'm going to sing a song at the CCTV New Year Gala this year, so don't forget to watch it. Ryan winked at April, then got in the van that was there to pick him up. As the van drove away, Winnie said, Are you sure that you'll buy another man a pair of Uggs when you're on a vacation with Bennett? Won't he lose his temper? Winnie's question made April realize how serious this was. How could she possibly forget about that? But I've already promised him. How about this? I'll tell him that it's for your boyfriend, said April. I think he's unreasonable enough to forbid you from buying any man anything, unless that man is your dad. Am I right? Said Winnie. Is that so bad? April clicked her tongue. What do you think? Winnie threw the question back to her. April didn't know what to say. Having a jealous boyfriend could be troublesome. April, Winnie. At that moment, a Maserati stopped before the two of them. The car's backseat window dropped, exposing Mary's sour face. Kathy was sitting next to her. April, don't be too proud. I failed to take you down last time because Aaron is still interested in you. But I'm telling you that you'll soon be out of the game, Mary sneered. April didn't want to talk to her at all, but Winnie couldn't bear listening to her. What are you planning now? Stop bothering her like a crazy dog, said Winnie. I think you're more like a dog. All you can do is follow behind April and bark. Let's see how long you can bark, Mary snorted, then turned to April and said, Aaron's childhood sweetheart is coming back. She's way better than you. You'll be crying. So that's what you're talking about? I knew about her a long time ago, April responded blandly. You probably don't know how much Aaron loved her. Kathy smiled and said, if his mother hadn't pleaded with him so desperately, he would have never left that woman. April hesitated for a moment and retorted, Auntie Kathy, I've always been baffled by your actions. I've never had any designs on your money, and I've never caused any harm to your family, but you always pit yourself against whatever I do. You guys started picking on me first, and you're always looking for trouble. I think you should take care of your own business, especially after what you did with Isaac. You've caused such tremendous losses to the Bennett family. Do you think your relationship with them is still intact? I don't need to tell you about your status in the YCC group now, do I? Kathy and Mary's faces turned green in the driver's seat. Donald looked glum as well. We're family. These are temporary situations. After we celebrate the new year together, things will be back to how they were. Every family has its own problems and feuds, but no matter what, we will still support and look out for each other, Kathy said sternly. Oh, really? I'm very much looking forward to how you are going to look out for each other. I forgot to mention that Auntie Bennett has accepted me already. Even if his ex-girlfriend reappears, I don't think Auntie Bennett will approve of her. Don't worry. I'll let her know about what you guys told me as well. I'll make sure she knows about how excited and supportive you guys are of Aaron's ex-girlfriend. April chuckled lightly and dragged Winnie away. Kathy looked panicky. She knew about what happened then and remembered how the entire Bennett family was repelled by the incident. If April really told them about what she said, they would surely take offense against her. You two should really stop. Isn't it bad enough that my position in YCC is so awkward now? Donald glared at the two of them in the passenger seat. He got out of the car to chase after April. April, Auntie and Mary are unreasonable people. I apologize on their behalf. They've been too mean to you. Uncle, why didn't you stop them earlier? Since you're so reasonable yourself? April said sarcastically. She turned to leave without paying further attention to the man. Dad, why did you apologize to that woman? Mary asked grumpily as she got out of the car. Look at her arrogant demeanor. How dare she forget her place? Shut up. This is all because of you, Donald said angrily as he pointed to the bridge of her nose. All your mother's and my efforts at YCC have gone to waste. Our power in the corporation is slowly being taken away. Sooner or later, we'll just be relying on that bit of pathetic salary. You'll have to say goodbye to that extravagant lifestyle soon. Get yourself to France right after the Lunar New Year. What are you doing scolding your own daughter? Kathy hugged her daughter. You've spoiled her, Donald said with frustration. As they walked off campus, Winnie remarked, Mary's really asking for trouble. She just won't learn her lesson, will she? Whatever. She'll learn her lesson one day, April said casually. She'll be going to study to France next semester. I guess she'll find out what a lousy academy it is when she gets there. Oh, really? Bennett is really mean. Winnie chuckled too. She looked at April to see her disappointed expression. What's wrong? Are you affected by what they said? Do I look like I'm such a fragile person? April teased. I'll capture both his body and his heart when we go on vacation, and we'll see if he can ever escape from my clutches. All right, I'll get you more boxes of condoms. Winnie laughed heartily. Episode 213. In her room, her photos were all over the wall. April was speechless. You look innocent, but why are you always thinking about condoms? Isn't that good? That means I'm aware of self-protection. Winnie answered her question with composure. April sighed and continued, Seriously, how are you going to spend this New Year's? You'll at least meet your boyfriend once during winter vacation, right? I won't have time. I'm busy recording my album, and then I'll shoot a music video. We're both busy. Perhaps next year will be better. When I become a star, his company won't be against our relationship anymore. Winnie smiled confidently, then continued, I have a feeling that I'll definitely become a star next year. April had no faith in long-distance relationships like the one that Sylvia and Jeremy had. They were doing better than Winnie and her boyfriend, as they were able to talk over the phone occasionally. But still, a problem had occurred between them. Even though they were going to marry now, April still wasn't optimistic about their marriage. She felt that Sylvia was too passionate about their relationship, and Jeremy was too calm. However, at least Jeremy was a soldier and wasn't surrounded by all kinds of women. Unlike him, Winnie's boyfriend lived in the complicated entertainment circle, which was like a huge divat. Perhaps he had been changed thoroughly already. Winnie didn't know much about it. April's father used to run a film company, so unlike Winnie, she had seen lots of actors and actresses who had failed to hold on to their conscience. However, she didn't tell Winnie about that as she didn't want to upset her. At night, April couldn't sleep. Tomorrow, she would go back to Rosewood City and meet Kenneth. It would be her first journey home after what had happened 2 years ago. There were too many thoughts in her mind, and the feelings she had were very complicated as well. In the morning, Aaron wasn't able to drive her to the airport as he had a meeting to attend, so he arranged a chauffeur to drive her. When the chauffeur arrived, April was surprised as she saw Richard sitting in the front seat. I can't go to Rosewood City with you this time, but Richard will keep you company, said Aaron. He's been managing the stuff at Regalia after we purchased that company. He was supposed to go to Regalia long ago, but it got delayed because of Jeremy's accident. I can put my mind at ease since he'll be with you. Even though Isaac has no time to cause you any trouble at the moment, we should still be careful. April nodded. But, Aaron then changed his tone, I still don't trust you with Richard. You're so pretty, and he's been eyeing you covetously the whole time. What? Richard disagreed so strongly that even he spoke in English. When did I eye her covetously? Earlier, you didn't want to hire her as your carer, but she didn't like you. Aaron frowned and said, And didn't you say that you'd find a girlfriend who's better than her? That girl doesn't exist in the world yet, so I worried that you might want to steal her from me. Richard just didn't know what to say. I don't think that was because she didn't like me. She can't keep working as a carer because she needs to study at college. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had a chance to be with her. Oh, never mind. I'm tired of talking to him. The difference between him and me is way too big. Erin kissed April's forehead. She was already shocked at that moment when he said to her, "Just go places with him, but don't talk to him too much." All right. April worried that Richard might vomit blood because of anger, so she hurriedly sat in the back seat and said, "I'll be back the day after tomorrow." Once they had driven for a few minutes, Richard sighed and said, "Benny's too much. He even warned you against me. I bet he'll see other men around you as the worst enemies ever." April sighed awkwardly. "Are you feeling free now?" Richard asked. "It's all right. Do whatever you want and have fun in Rosewood City. I won't tell Benny anything, I promise." April laughed bitterly. Rosewood City only brought her painful memories. There was no way she could enjoy herself there. They arrived at Rosewood City at 11 o'clock. The current CEO of Regalia picked them up himself, and April had lunch with them before heading to Regalia together. At the door, almost all of the seniors, executives, and company artists were there to greet and welcome Richard. Jennifer was there as well. It was cold in Rosewood City, so she was wearing a big red puffer jacket, and it was easy to spot her. "April, I've waited so long for you. Mr. Richard, I should address you as Director Richard now." "Thanks to your help, of course. Miss Jennifer, I have to congratulate you on becoming one of Regalia's shareholders now, too." Richard shook her hand. "The same goes to you, Mr. Richard. We can meet in the boardroom later. I have to sign the contract with April first," Jennifer said. Richard nodded. Jennifer and April took the elevator up and arrived at her own floor. Jennifer's manager fetched the contract. April glanced briefly at the contract. Usually a voice actor didn't get much for their work, but Jennifer offered her extremely good benefits and did not restrict the scope of her work. "Jennifer, I really appreciate this. I promise I won't let you down. Have you ever imagined yourself back in Rosewood City?" Jennifer smiled when she saw April get emotional. "April, you don't always get repaid for being kind. Do you have anything going on tonight? Let me take you someplace," April asked. "Where?" "Since you're in Rosewood City, we should go pay Rosaria a visit." Jennifer raised her brows suggestively. "She is our common enemy. Now that the Magma Group is no longer the same, her popularity has gone down a lot as well. Mr. Bennett has given word that he wants her to be boycotted in the industry. She's in a bad state now. It's our time to return the favor." "Of course I'll go." April's eyes lit up. She would never forget how Rosaria treated her in the past. "Are you going to visit your father in jail in the afternoon?" Jennifer asked. "It's a little out of the way from here. I was planning to head down tomorrow. I'll go back to my old villa in the afternoon," April said sadly. Jennifer nodded. "Remember to update Mr. Bennett about your plans." After leaving Regalia, April took the bus by herself to the old house. She used to take the same bus every day to school. It took her about an hour to reach her estate. The place looked the same, but April didn't feel like it was home anymore. After 10 minutes, she was back at her place. It was muscle memory for her. After what happened then, she had sold the villa at a low price. She didn't even know the owners now. She stood outside quietly staring at the building as the past flashed before her eyes. Suddenly, her eyes welled up with tears. Someone opened the gates of the house and she quickly turned to leave. The person called out to her, "April?" April turned and said coldly, "What are you doing here? Is Isaac here as well?" "He's not here. He doesn't have time to come back, especially with what's happening to the company." Clark laughed bitterly. "I'm only back to fetch some things for him." "My house was sold to Isaac?" April asked in disbelief. Clark remained silent for a while and then said, 2 years ago, you sold this house at a low price. The next day, Isaac found the buyer and bought it back at a high price. He didn't tell you about that because he didn't want you to know. Would you like to come in and take a look?" April looked at him alertly and said, "Who knows if it's an extremely dangerous place now? Last time at my school, you almost destroyed me." "Don't worry, I'm just an assistant. What can I possibly do to you? Besides, surveillance cameras are all over this place. If anything happens to you, Aaron would certainly find me. With his resources, would he ever let me go?" Clark smiled bitterly and said, "The furnishings in here didn't change. You can come in and look at your home." "April, I never wanted to hurt you. I did what I did because Isaac told me to. With some things, I tried to persuade him, but he's too stubborn." April hesitated for a while before nodding. Clark sighed with relief, then opened the door and let her in. The front yard looked exactly the same as it had been when she left. Not even a tree was missing. It was winter now, so the leaves had fallen off the branches. Seeing the familiar scene, April's eyes couldn't help but turn misty. She had lived here for over 10 years. This place was filled with her memories with her father. She walked into the house. The furnishings in the living room hadn't changed. Even the vases had never been moved. She stood there in a daze for a while, as if the disaster had never happened. At that time, Isaac bought the house as quickly as possible because he worried that the buyer might move things, said Clark. While you were away these past 2 years, he lived here whenever he was in Rosewood City. He stayed in the guest room because he didn't want to touch the other areas. He knew that this is the place where you grew up and it's filled with your memories. April interrupted him. It's meaningless for you to say that. I'll never forget the harm that he's done to me. Her voice contained hatred. Clark glanced at her and said, Go to your room and have a look. April would have gone even if he hadn't said that. When she came upstairs and pushed open the door of her old bedroom, she was stunned. In that room, her photos were all over the wall. They were the photos of her and Isaac, some of her selfies and some photos of herself that had been taken by Isaac. Every single one of these photos had been enlarged. Her brain even stopped working while she was looking at the photographs. Isaac came here every time he missed you. He kept every one of your photos. He often stared at these photos all day, said Clark. Sometimes I even feel that he's out of his mind. He loves you so much that he doesn't even know how to actually love you. He's been trying to get your attention by hurting you. Don't tell me that, April interrupted him with a loud, trembling voice. He's a devil in my eyes. I don't want his love. His love is horrible. Yeah, he's getting more and more horrible. Clark nodded and then said with a deep, dry voice, At Christmas, he clearly knew what he was going to do would offend the Bennett family and piss Aaron off. But he still did it. I tried to talk him out of it, but he didn't listen to me. He just wants you to leave Aaron. To serve that purpose, he even tried to destroy you. Why are you saying all this to me? Are you trying to make me feel touched because he still loves me? April sneered and said, If it wasn't for Aaron, I might have been driven to death by him and Rosario long ago. I hid from them for 2 years, but they found me and they just wouldn't leave me alone. I've told you that I'll hate him until I die. She turned and walked downstairs without looking back. Episode 214. Isaac has never touched me. When she was at the door, she turned and said, This house used to be home to many of my childhood memories, but now that it is occupied by Isaac, it gives me the creeps. I'll never come back again. Clark watched her disappear through the gates. He hadn't said all that hoping that she would forgive Isaac. He just wished that she would hate him a little less. Only that way would Isaac maybe have a shot at salvation. When April walked out of the villa, she was in a daze. Her mind was blank and she was confused and lost. While walking on the path, one of the security guards called out to her, Miss April, I haven't seen you in so long. April was shocked. She recognized the guard. He was always at the guard post and they often greeted each other. Hey, April acknowledged him. I haven't been in Rosewood City. Ah, I see. The security guard smiled, and before he was about to leave, he said, All right. Someone came looking for you 2 years ago. Oh, really? April laughed lightly. She wasn't surprised that people would look for her after all that happened 2 years ago. People were always looking for trouble. It was a boy about 18, 19 years old. He was a handsome chap, and he resembled you, Miss April, the security guard said. April froze. He looks like me? Yeah, that's why I remembered him all this time. April remembered what Raymond said to her and asked, Did he say why he was looking for me? Do you know where he came from, where he went? He only asked me if April lived here. I told him that you had moved out a long time ago and sold the villa, and he left. Thank you. April's thoughts were in a flurry. Kenneth was the only child of his family. After her grandpa and grandma passed away, none of their distant relatives kept in touch with them, especially after what had happened. She had never heard of someone who looked just like her. Was her mother still alive? Did she have a brother? The more she thought about it, the more overwhelmed she got. She wished that she could visit the prison at once, but it was too late now. At 5 o'clock in the evening, Jennifer called her and April gave her an address. After about 30 minutes, a Bentley rolled around the corner and parked in front of her. Richard and Jennifer were both sitting in the passenger seats. Brother Richard, why are you here too? April thought that the two would make a handsome couple. Benny told me to keep an eye on you two. He was worried that something might happen to you if you acted on your own. He would never let me off if anything happened to you." Richard shrugged. "I don't want to be here either. I'd rather be off somewhere tasting the delicacies of Rosewood City." "How about I bring you around after we're done with this business? I haven't had snacks in here in too long," April said. "Don't. I'm not going out for supper with you. If Benny found out, he would surely send me to the border for some wretched business." Richard waved his arms around vehemently. "I don't have anything going on tonight. I can go with you," Jennifer said suddenly. "I'll buy you supper as thanks for making me a shareholder of Regalia." "Sure," Richard said readily. At 7:30, the car was parked in front of a private club. Jennifer guided the others upstairs. The club was decorated with marble and was as luxurious as a palace. They walked into the VIP room at the end of the corridor and saw a few people sitting there. Rosaria was sitting in the middle of the group holding a glass of wine and talking to a middle-aged man. Seeing them walk in, the look on her face changed slightly. "Director Woods? Mr. Lee, I'm sorry I'm late." Jennifer stepped forward, smiling. "Jennifer, this is the first time I've seen you with a man. Is this your boyfriend? He's pretty handsome." Director Woods raised his head and laughed. Jennifer was puzzled at first, then realized what Director Woods was talking about. She grinned and responded, "No, this is Mr. Richard, the major shareholder of Regalia, the vice president of Splingo." Once Jennifer had introduced Richard, the others in the room immediately stood up to shake hands with him. "Mr. Richard, I've heard a lot about you," someone said. Richard gave a faint smile. Tonight wasn't about him, so he just wanted to be a quiet, good-looking boy. As someone introduced Rosaria to her, Jennifer raised her eyebrows and said, "I'm really familiar with Miss Rosaria. Years ago, she was just an unknown voice actor. I even recommended her for a job. Well, later on, I was surprised to hear that she had stolen her friend's boyfriend. With Isaac's help, she advanced rapidly in her career, and since then, she's in more important positions than I am in all kinds of activities." The conversation had started in a quite unfriendly way. Rosaria was a little embarrassed, yet it was inappropriate for her to show any discontent. With no other choice, she said to Director Woods, who sat beside her, "I think Miss Jennifer has misunderstood me. I clearly remember how she helped me. You can't blame me for the activities. The organizers put me in important positions on purpose, to fawn on the Magma Group." Director Woods smiled and took a sip of wine. He said, "Rosaria, do you know why I invited you here today? It's not about the casting of my new movie. Instead, it's because Jennifer wants to see you. I've been friends with her for years. Years ago, when I was in a slump in my career, I wanted to make a movie, but people didn't even want to talk to me. Only Jennifer helped me. She worked with me on that movie for free. Don't think that everyone is as heartless as you." Rosaria's expression changed. She stood up, grabbed her purse, and prepared to leave. Jennifer rushed over, picked up a glass of wine, and threw it in Rosaria's face. "Jennifer, you're insane!" As the group of men around her merely watched this happen, Rosaria couldn't help but burst out screaming. "I am Isaac's girlfriend. How dare you treat me like this? Isaac won't let you get away with this." "Isaac is just using you." April walked over, looked at her coldly, and said, "He's been using you to antagonize me. And that's all." "What are you talking about?" Rosaria sneered and said, "April, you're still jealous of me. It's so ridiculous. Isaac has given me all the things that you don't have." April pressed her lips together without saying anything else as she saw that Rosaria was slowly reaching a hand toward her pocket. She grabbed Rosaria's hand and took her phone out of her pocket. As she had thought, Rosaria was recording. "Give me back my phone!" Rosaria screeched and tried to take back her phone. Jennifer immediately pushed her onto the couch, picked up a wine bottle, and pointed it at Rosaria while saying, "Do you think that I don't know what you've done these past few years? Your fans never stopped insulting me, and even my family online, because you have been telling them to. I've seen countless evil women, and you're the worst of them all." Jennifer's fierceness frightened Rosaria and made her curl up on the couch. Even the men around her were stunned. Richard's mouth was agape as he grabbed April's sleeve and whispered, "This girl seems to weigh less than 100 pounds, but she's scarily strong." April was shocked, too. Jennifer was always gentle and demure. She had never seen this vicious side of her before. To be fair, Jennifer didn't come from an impressive background, so she might not have been able to rise to her status now if she wasn't vicious when necessary. Rosaria was asking for it anyway. "Jennifer, don't be ridiculous!" Rosaria was shivering in fear. Although the magma group is facing some problems now, it doesn't mean that it will be permanent. I'm still a public figure after all. I'll go online and expose you if you dare to hit me. Don't worry, I know that. I'm not going to hit your face, Jennifer turned and said. Do you have any good ideas, April? April looked around the table and settled her gaze on the 2 bottles of whiskey. Rosaria, do you remember what you did to me at Fantasy? I'll give you 2 options tonight. Either you sleep with one of these guys, or you finish these 2 bottles of whiskey in one sitting. Are you crazy? I'll be sent to the hospital after this, Rosaria screamed. April laughed. So you're picking the option of sleeping with one of the men here? I've arranged for someone, Jennifer added. She turned to address the men in the room. Who wants to do the honors? Me. One of the men stood up. He was big and fat. This woman acts so arrogantly and cockily just because she was with Isaac. I've always found her to be an eyesore. Rosaria looked at the man and was about to break down. No, I'm not going to sleep with him. I don't want to. You don't want this, and you don't want that. What do you want, then? Jennifer knocked the glass bottle against the table with annoyance, and then she propped one of her legs up on the sofa. Are you treating this like a game? You're not picking a hairstylist, you know. If you're not going to choose, I'll make the decision for you. You shall sleep with this man. I thought you loved snatching men. He looks like the most energetic one out of the group anyway. He'll surely give you one heck of a night to remember. I didn't snatch anyone. Isaac asked me to put on an act with him. I'm innocent, Rosaria pleaded with April. Isaac has never touched me, not once. April, everything I did to you was because he told me to do it. Was he the one who arranged for me to sleep with Mr. Lin that night as well? April snickered at her. Yes, it was him. You know how much he hates you. Rosaria grimaced. He arranged for you to be my assistant as well. April laughed. She might have believed her in the past, but now she had found out that Isaac's obsession with her, so it was impossible that he would offer her to Mr. Lennox. Rosaria, you said that you loved Isaac. How can you put all the responsibility on him now? I've recorded everything, and I will edit it and send the clip to Isaac and corroborate what you've said with him. Rosaria collapsed onto the couch in defeat. After a long while, she sat upright and grabbed the bottle of whiskey from April's hands. I'll drink. April, please don't tell Isaac. Isaac would never let her off. 2 bottles were enough at first, but since you're so full of lies, I'll have to add another, Jennifer said as she fetched another bottle. You said so yourself. You'd better let me go after I drink all of this. You better not take advantage of me after I'm drunk. Rosaria gritted her teeth. We're not as despicable as you, April mocked her. Episode 215. Have you done something bad before? Rosaria clenched her teeth, grabbed the whiskey, and poured it into her mouth. The sharp taste nearly made her throw up, but she made herself keep drinking. After finishing half the bottle, she couldn't help but start barfing. Are you playing a game with me? You drank half the bottle, then threw it up. The half bottle doesn't count. You need to drink a half bottle more, said Jennifer darkly. Jennifer, I did nothing but tell my fans to speak against you online. You've still become a star, haven't you? It's not like you lost an arm. The strong liquor even made Rosaria shed tears. Yeah, I helped you, and you assaulted me. Why did you do that? You're sick. Are you aware of that? You're not grateful to the people who helped you? On the contrary, you're jealous of them, and you tried to hurt them. You didn't even show them the respect that they deserve. Jennifer couldn't stand looking at Rosaria. Look at April. Look at how miserable she was because of you. April said, Rosaria, I'll ask you one more question. If your answer satisfies me, you can drink a bottle less. Did Isaac frame my father? How can I possibly know that? Isaac hid the truth so well, he'd never tell me about it. Rosaria looked pitiful. I could only see him a few times a year. Only after I met you in Rosewood City did he show up around me. If you hadn't shown up, meeting him would have been as difficult for me as meeting the Prime Minister. That gave April a start. Seeing that, Richard finally joined the conversation. Just drink. Don't waste our time. You said that I could drink half a bottle less, said Rosaria weakly. The dislike on April's face was plain to see. She didn't even want to say a word about Rosaria. Rosaria was so jealous and spineless. She loved Isaac and did all kinds of bad things with him. But now she had betrayed that man. April felt that she had been so blind earlier to actually have made friends with someone like Rosaria. All right, half a bottle less, but don't you waste even a drop, she said. After that, Rosaria tossed off 2.5 bottles of whiskey. Before finishing, she couldn't even hold the bottle steadily. As she finally finished the liquor off, she directly kneeled on the ground and began vomiting. She was completely without manners at that moment. She was awfully drunk. She took off her shoes, laid on the couch, pointed at the ceiling, and cursed, "April, you bitch. If your family wasn't rich, I'd never be friends with you. You're an idiot. You thought everyone is like you, only wanting to do voice acting? I want to be a star. I want to be famous. I want to live in the spotlight. Can you do me a favor?" April asked a fat man nearby. "Can you hold her? I want to take some pictures." "Of course." The man immediately walked up and put his arms around Rosaria. Rosaria was a female star after all, and it felt quite good to bully her. April took a few pictures. In the pictures, Rosaria's dress was halfway torn off. She laid in a man's arms, grinning in a tempting way. If those pictures spread, Rosaria's career would definitely be destroyed. She wanted to be a star, but April wanted that to never happen. Walking out of the room, Richard sighed and said, "Why do you have to make it so complicated? Why don't you just let those men rape her? She deserves that anyway." "I only want to scare her at first." Jennifer shook her head. "There are some things immoral people might do, but we can't. If we do that, we'd be the same as Rosaria." Richard glanced at her in surprise, because just a couple of minutes ago she was acting like a female robber. "You're really an actress," thought Richard. "Yeah, that's enough." April smiled and said, "Jennifer, thank you for tonight. I've been holding a strong hatred toward Rosaria all these years." "I have so much hatred pent up in me," Jennifer laughed. "Remember to edit that clip and send it to Isaac later. Let him know exactly who he was with. I don't care if they were acting or pretending. He did raise her to her popularity today." April nodded. It was a bummer to think about those things. Too bad she was such a terrible judge of character. The driver took her to the hotel. "Have fun, you guys." April waved goodbye to them before leaving. Back in her room, she called Aaron after her shower. "What are you doing?" "Still working," he swiftly replied. It was already 9 o'clock. "You're still at the office?" "Yes," Aaron replied. He addressed someone else in the background. "How many times must I tell you to review our company shares when the yearly audit rolls around? But I thought that this was already sufficient. Am I the boss or are you the boss?" April only spoke when it got quiet at the other end. "Why do you make your workers work overtime too?" "I am the boss, so of course I must have a lackey around to perform the required tasks." "So how many people are there at the office tonight?" April asked curiously. "Not many, just the supervisors of each department, about 10 of them." April said a silent prayer for all of them trapped in the office that night. "What's the rush?" "Of course we need to rush. How can I go off on our vacation if I don't finish the work? There are a lot of things to take care of at the end of the year," Aaron continued. "I'm planning to stay over at the office since you're not around." April thought that most of his colleagues must feel like breaking down after hearing what he was saying. "You shouldn't be that way. You should be more considerate of others." "I have to pay their salary and consider their feelings? I'm not Saint Maria, you know," Aaron said coldly. April sighed and changed the topic. She was excited to share some gossip. "Richard is out tonight having supper with Jennifer." "I'm kind of hungry right now as well," he sighed. "I really miss your cooking." Aaron sounded frustrated over the phone. April soon realized it was no fun sharing gossip with this monotonous man. "Come on, Richard is your brother after all. Do you really have zero interest in his affairs? I think they look good together. Maybe we can help bring them together." "Uninterested." "Well, that's enough. Bye." April was going to tell him about her brother, but he was killing the conversation every second it carried on. "Okay." After she hung up, she regretted it a little bit. She wished that she had reminded him not to stay up too late. The next morning, the sun was bright and shining. April called a taxi to go to the Lukesville prison. The ride there took about an hour, and the guards weren't on shift yet when she arrived. She had to wait for a while longer before she registered as a visitor. She waited another 5 minutes in the visiting area before Kenneth emerged with his handcuffs and ankle cuffs. After 2 years, his hair had turned gray, and he looked thin and malnourished. He looked like he had aged 10 years. "Dad!" Tears rolled down her cheeks immediately, and she felt herself choke up with emotion before she could say anything more. "Hey, my April is still as beautiful as ever. You've grown up." Kenneth smiled. His eyes were red too. I'm sorry, Dad. It took me so long to come see you, April said guiltily. I've been in Rosewood City these 2 years. Professor Connor used his connections to get me into the Langford College of Communication. Kenneth nodded and said, Professor Connor is a good man. Among all my friends, I only trust him. This is all Isaac's fault. I don't know why he hates our family, but I have a clear conscience all my life. And you're so young. You had a bright future, yet he destroyed it. Thankfully, Professor Connor helped you, and you're back in school now. I'm relieved. You should work hard. Unlike you, I have nothing to hope for in this life. After saying that, his face showed despair. April stared at him for a while and then gathered her courage, gritted her teeth, and asked, Dad, have you done something bad before? Kenneth was startled at first. A short while later, he understood April's meaning and his face slowly darkened. April, even you don't believe me. Earlier, I met one of my mother's classmates. She told me that Mom used to be your student and that she had me before graduating from school. She also said that not long after you came back to Lukesville, you were with another student of yours. Nonsense. Kenneth was so angry that his face even turned red. I was never with a woman other than your mother. Is my mother really dead? April looked at him in the eyes and said, Look at me. Can you swear? Mom's friend said that the last time they met, she was in the hospital doing antenatal care. Mom was pregnant. Yesterday, I went back to where we lived. The security guys told me that 2 years ago, a boy around 18 years old came to find me. They said that he looked a lot like me. Is he my younger brother? Kenneth's eyes popped in shock, as if he had been suddenly drained of strength. Did she really give birth to that boy? He murmured. So what Mom's friend said is true? April abruptly stood up and gripped the microphone. Mom didn't die? Why did you lie to me? Yes, I lied to you. Kenneth nodded. His eyes were red as he continued. But it's not like what you think. We were happy when we had you, but things changed after we came back to Lukesville. Your mother is an orphan, and I'm from a scholarly family. Your grandma didn't like your mother. There was a lot of conflict when they lived together. Your mother was bad-tempered, so they fought a lot. Back then, I was newly transferred to Lukesville. I worked a lot, and I was tired every day. Therefore, I used my work as an excuse. I hid in the school from all the family problems. At that time, I was immature. I didn't know how to handle these things. That year, the school arranged for me to make a short film. I selected a few students from my department. Mira was one of them. Your mother thought there was something between her and me. I explained it to her, but she wouldn't listen. At last, she just left you at home and started spending time in all kinds of entertainment places with all kinds of men. I was so angry, so I brought Mira to all sorts of places on purpose to get back at her. Later on, your mom got pregnant. She wanted to abort the baby and divorce me, but I wouldn't agree to it. However, she was like a wild horse and no one could change her mind. So with no other choice, I locked her up. How could you do that? April was shocked. Kenneth pulled his hair bitterly while saying, I didn't want to do that to her, but I didn't want a divorce. I didn't even know why my marriage had become like that. I kept her locked up for 2 months. She lost more and more weight. She was even going to lose that child. When I took her to the hospital for a checkup, she ran away. I never saw her again after that. I thought she had aborted the baby, but according to what you said, I think she gave birth to him. Episode 216. What exactly happened at Fantasy? Why did you lie to me and tell me that she was dead then? April asked loudly. Because I hate her, Kenneth said finally. When I went looking for her, I realized that she had run away with another man. She had walked out just like that. She walked out on me and you. April didn't know what to say. She guessed that in relationships, one could be afraid of both receiving and losing love and affection. If you had handled the relationship between my mother and grandmother properly in a calm manner, she might not have left the two of us. If only you had dealt with it in a more mature way, maybe everything would be different today, April said after a long pause. Yes, it's my fault. Kenneth covered his face. I've thought about traveling back in time to put things back in their right place countless times. But there's no such thing. She was so beautiful, I think that she was about your age when she left me. I was sure that she would have many suitors afterward. It is likely that she's happily married somewhere. April, please don't make me reminisce about the past. My heart aches every time. April closed her eyes and tears rolled down her cheeks. Kenneth said, maybe she was somewhere mocking me when she saw the news about what happened to me. She probably thinks that I'm gross and repugnant. She used to say that about me too. I hope she never appears again. Look at me now. My hair is gray and my forehead wrinkled. I'll kill myself in prison if I ever have to see her again. How could I let you die in prison if you're innocent? April stood up and looked at the clock. It was about time to leave. Dad, I'll find a way to get you out of here no matter what. She flew straight to the airport after visiting the prison. When she arrived, Aaron was waiting for her outside. What are you doing here? I thought you were swamped with work. April walked towards him with a look of confusion on her face. Aaron looked hard at her for a second before pulling her into an embrace. He said in a quiet tone, You visited Papa in the afternoon. You must be feeling dejected. I came because I know I'm the only one who can comfort you. April was taken aback by his gesture. She was touched, of course, but he claimed that he was the only one that could comfort her. Gee. Wait, what did you call my dad just now? April finally reacted to the situation. Papa? The man looked at her matter-of-factly. The corner of April's mouth twitched uncomfortably. I don't think we're married yet. What are you doing? It's only a matter of time. It's better that we get used to things now. Aaron didn't even bat an eye when he said it. April found the whole situation hilarious. He wasn't someone who needed time to ease into things. Being with him cleared her mind of all troubles. Look at your dark circles. Do you have a rough night? I only slept a wink. I couldn't fall asleep. Did you drink coffee or concentrated tea? April frowned. No, I was thinking about you. Aaron looked at her seriously. April blushed instantly. Enough, I'm still standing here, guys. Can you watch yourselves? I'm gonna throw up. Richard rolled his eyes. You're still jealous. Aaron wiggled his brows. I heard you found yourself a girlfriend. Who told you that? Richard was shell-shocked. Who's my girlfriend? Jennifer. Aaron directed his gaze to April. Didn't you tell me that yesterday? When did I say that? April was confused. Last night, Aaron said with a frown. You said that he did something with Jennifer. I was working at that time, so I didn't hear you carefully, but I guess that was what you meant. Richard turned to look at April. April was awfully embarrassed. How can you say that's what I meant if you didn't listen to me carefully? I was telling you that Richard and Jennifer went to have dinner together, and there was a spark between them. Oh, now I remember those were your words. Aaron rubbed his forehead, thought for a moment, and then nodded. April felt that her heart was so tired. In addition to narcissism, Aaron had recently developed a super rich imagination. He actually talked about what April had said right in front of Richard. April would never dare to share gossip with him again. Richard, She didn't know how to explain. So you think there's a spark between us too? Richard happily raised his eyebrows and said, You think I'll have a chance if I try to pursue her? April was surprised. Are you preparing to pursue Jennifer? Yeah. Last night I became attracted to her when she raised that bottle with one hand. Richard nodded with satisfaction. April couldn't think of a word to say for a while. People said that birds of a feather flock together, and people of one mind fall into the same group. That was true. April now suspected that one part of Richard's heart was also occupied by masochism, just like Aaron's. I'm not sure. I didn't have much time to interact with her, but I can tell for sure that she's a good person, said April. But currently she's known for her diligence. I heard that she works all year round and never rests. Richard smiled and said, It's okay. I'm her boss now. I can make her rest with one word. April thought for a moment and then agreed. All right, let's go. Aaron interrupted the conversation discontentedly as he found that April and Richard actually had quite a few topics in common. He put an arm around April's shoulder and then walked toward the parking lot. After driving Richard to the company, Aaron turned back and said to April, I plan to sleep in my office for a few days because I need to work overtime. You should stay there with me. Why? Because I'm worried that I might miss you too much. I can't sleep without you, and I didn't get any sleep last night. April instantly blushed. No, she refused. Give me a reason. Aaron immediately looked displeased. That's where you work. How can I live in that place with you? If your employees were to find out, they might say that I'm a fox, that I won't give you any time alone, even when you need to work overtime. April sighed and said, I'm finally on winter break. In a couple of days, we're going on vacation. I just want to rest somewhere quiet and sleep late. You can sleep late in my office. I won't wake you up. Aaron knitted his brows and said, Besides, you are a fox. You've enchanted me. When you work at night, the managers in your company will come in and out of your office, and I don't think it's appropriate for me to walk around in your office in my pajamas at night, said April. You're right. Aaron stayed silent for a short while and then said, You look so good in pajamas, it's difficult to ensure that they won't fall for you. Forget it, you should stay at the villa. April wanted to vomit blood. She had said so many words, but only the word pajamas got into his mind. However, she decided to let him think whatever he wanted. Don't forget to come here often to bring me food, and we're going abroad next Monday, so there's some shopping for you to do. You should go to a mall and buy me a pair of swim trunks, and also get yourself some swimsuits. You need to buy both conservative and less conservative swimsuits. You'll be wearing the conservative ones when we go out together, and the less conservative ones in front of me. After giving April a series of instructions, Erin went upstairs. Over the next few days, April spent time at home packing her things. She also went shopping for things that she lacked. She spent her free time reading about gossip at home. After she came back, Rosaria's photo at the club was circulated online and remained as one of the top searches for many days to come. Even Emily, who didn't know about the entire situation, had something negative to say about her. Rosaria, she looks like a nice and innocent girl on the television. I never would have thought that she was such a shameless person. I can't believe she's so popular. Something's seriously wrong with our entertainment industry. April looked over at her. Emily was on Instagram as she continued. Look, she's trending #1 on Instagram. It's about her scandal. It says that she's been sleeping around with investors. Look at these photos. She looks absolutely wasted and indecently dressed, leaning against this man. Look at this man. Even I wouldn't go for that. Celebrities nowadays will do anything to gain popularity. April was giggling as she munched on sunflower seeds. Emily would never have guessed that she was the one who had taken the photo. She should be blocked away from any future jobs, Emily protested. I heard she had a boyfriend too. How could she two-time her boyfriend? I heard that her boyfriend is a scum as well. He's the CEO of an entertainment company, and he always makes his artists sleep with his investors for his own profit. What a scumbag. How do you know so much, Emily? April teased her playfully. My friends have been reposting the story. There's so many articles, and it's quite exciting, Emily said. There are many comment threads on the posts as well, and I read them all. You're really up to date, Emily. April gave her a thumbs up. Of course I have to keep up with the times. Emily turned to do her chores. After lunch, April emerged from the washroom, and she overheard Emily talking to her friend over the phone about the article again. She thought that Rosaria was really finished this time. The power of the internet was formidable in this day and age. There were many other investors like Emily, so there was no redeeming herself now. She thought more about what had happened, and she went back to her room to edit the clip that she had recorded. When she was done, she quickly hit the send button and emailed it to Isaac. At the Magma group, when Isaac saw April's email in his inbox, his heart fluttered in excitement. But when he opened the file, he heard another familiar voice. April, he instructed me to do all those things. He asked you to bring me to Fantasy and accompany Mr. Lennox that night? Yes, it was all him. You know how much he detests you. He arranged for you to be my assistant as well. The clip ended. Isaac quickly dialed April's number. He was pleasantly surprised when the call connected. Isaac? What exactly happened at Fantasy? April chuckled. Rosaria purposely made me drunk along with Mr. Lennox, and he proceeded to try to rape me. Erin saved me that night, otherwise I would truly have become a wretched soul. Isaac, you really found a good actress to play the role in your show. I went to visit my dad as well, just to let you know. I know he was framed. One day, I'll find out exactly what you did to him. She hung up after saying her piece. Isaac stood up and paced around his office. He kicked the leg of the coffee table several times until the table was smashed. Mr. Davidson. Clark rushed into the office. He was shocked to see the mess in the center of the room. Tell Rosaria to come back here at once. If she refuses, tie her up and bring her here to me. After 3 hours, Rosaria was dragged into the office. When she saw how dark and cold Isaac's expression was, she shuddered in fear. His handsome features were contorted in a twisted manner. Isaac! Episode 217. Your EQ has finally improved a little. Isaac rushed up and kicked her chest. Rosaria screamed as she fell onto the floor, feeling like her internal organs had shattered under his foot. Isaac pointed at her. Let me ask you something. That night in Fantasy, what did you do to April? His voice was ice cold. Rosaria's heart missed a beat. She guessed that April must have sent the recording to Isaac. Isaac, you misunderstood it. Did April send you the recording? They made me say that. And those photos, they forced me to drink. Yeah. When people asked you, you told them that I made you do all the bad things. Isaac stepped on the back of Rosaria's hand and said, when I told you to keep April as your assistant, did I ask you to send her to another man's bed? Who the hell is that Mr. Lennox? That man doesn't deserve to even touch a finger of hers. I'm so stupid that I knew nothing about this. I even saved your ass from the trouble you made for yourself. No wonder April hates me so much. And even now you're still lying. Some people believed that fingers were connected to the heart. Rosaria's fingers were about to break, and that caused her immense pain. She cried, I felt sorry for you when I saw April treat you like that. That's why I wanted to get revenge on her. I did what I did because I love you. Love me? Isaac snorted and responded, that's how you love me? By letting me take all the blame? Tell me, what other things have you done behind my back? Nothing. That's the only thing I did without your permission. Rosaria quickly shook her head. She believed that Isaac would definitely kill her if he found out about everything she had done. Isaac slowly stood up, looked at the woman who was trembling on the floor, and said, I'm offering you one last chance. Are you going to tell me, or do you want me to find out myself? If I find out, for every bad thing you've done, my people will break one of your fingers. Frightened, Rosaria hurriedly asked, No. If I tell you the truth, will you forgive me? At least you'll suffer less than what might happen after I find out myself. Isaac squinted at her and said, You know what kind of a person I am, and that I can even be so cruel to April, not to mention you. I'll tell you, Rosaria nodded and said, 2 years ago, when April was studying in Lukesville, I knew that you were looking for people to spread Kenneth's story, so I made some students bully her. I told some girls to lock her in a bathroom or classroom, and I asked some boys to harass her. Isaac clenched his fists and said, What else? And when she lived in the small apartment in Lukesville, I hired some gangsters nearby to knock on her door in the middle of the night and smash things in her room. But she wasn't harmed. Before Rosaria finished, Isaac gave her another kick that was even harder than the first one. She suffered so much pain that she couldn't talk for a long while. You think it was okay because she was unharmed? She's a girl. Have you thought about how scared she was when something like that happened to her in the middle of the night? And have you ever thought that those people might want to do something to her? Or maybe you just didn't care and even wanted that to happen. Isaac bent over, pointed at her face and said, Rosaria, I thought that you were just a vain, greedy person, but I'm surprised to find that you're purely evil. April was nice to you. How did you manage to do something like that to her? Rosaria shook her head while crying. Isaac stood up and continued kicking her. Finally, Rosaria was beyond endurance. Enough! What makes you think that you can say that to me? She burst out yelling. Did you give her less humiliation than I did? You stirred up her father's trouble, and you spread that story all over the world. You bore witness yourself to send her father to prison. In front of a bunch of men, you called her a slut. You ruined her career, destroyed her home. She finally started over in Rosewood City, but you revealed her identity as April in public in the cruelest way. I didn't do all that. Isaac felt his temples pulsate. Every word she said stabbed him in the heart like a knife. It was so painful he could hardly breathe. His mind was blank. He just wanted her to shut up. Mr. Davidson, there are people outside. I think that's enough. Clark went forward and held him back when he saw that Isaac was a little out of control. You're going to kill her at this rate. She's a public figure after all. Isaac finally stopped. He pointed a finger at her and said coldly, Get lost. Rosaria didn't dare to stay any longer. She quickly crawled out of the office. She's going to be banished from the entertainment industry. If I can bring her up to status, I can push her down to hell, too. Isaac commanded in an icy voice. When he was done, he turned and felt his body go weak. No wonder April had left Lukesville so suddenly. No wonder April had so much hatred for her whenever they met in Rosewood City. It was this hatred that had forced him to do all sorts of things to hurt her further. He had nearly ruined her for good. If not for Rosaria, April would not have been saved by Aaron at Fantasy, and she would never have ended up together with him. Clark, do you think I'm a fool? I've been made a fool of by Rosaria for so many years, and I listened to so many of her opinions. Isaac laughed miserably. You were right. I shouldn't have used her to hurt April in the first place. Clark sighed but didn't reply. He wanted to tell him that Rosaria wasn't all wrong. Although Rosaria hurt April, she wouldn't have had the opportunity if Isaac hadn't provided it for her. If Rosaria was the perpetrator, Isaac was an accomplice. April spent an idyllic week at the villa. However, Aaron would work until late every night. He often returned at 11 o'clock. He didn't rest well for the entire week, and he didn't even have time to properly groom himself. His stubble had grown out and dark eye circles decorated his face. When April saw him, she questioned whether she should have promised to give herself away to him on their vacation. She didn't expect him to work so hard just for a romantic night together. He was working like a maniac. He had been a virgin for 29 years after all. When he got home, he would shower and fall asleep right away. April had expected him to sleep in the next day, but she was awakened by him early in the morning. Why didn't you pack any bikinis? Aaron was only wearing his pajama pants, so his sculpted upper body was exposed and naked. He was standing by the bed with his hair messy, but his eyes focused. April yawned and replied lazily, I didn't promise you that I'd wear bikinis. What's the point of going to the beach if you don't wear a bikini? Aaron looked at her and asked in frustration. April was speechless. You're free to check out other hot babes. I only want to look at you. Aaron's eyes darkened. Look, if I wear a bikini, you won't allow me to go out in case other guys check me out. You only let me wear one-piece bathing suits when I'm out. I'm only bringing the bikini to wear in the room. What's that for? Come on, I booked a villa for our vacation. There's a private pool there. You can swim there in your bikini, Aaron said meaningfully. April closed her eyes and said angrily, You're taking everything off in the villa anyway. I won't need to wear anything. Aaron was stunned, but he broke into a laugh. I didn't know you were considering that. I like taking clothes off of you and the pleasure of undressing you myself. April didn't know what to say. Aaron continued, Or you can keep it on. We'll still be able to do what we'll be doing, and it'll be more exciting. April blushed crimson as she couldn't bear listening to that. Mr. Bennett, what is in your brain? Something dirty and something violent, of course. Aaron responded with composure. Or what did I work day and night for? April didn't want to continue the conversation. Instead, she pulled the blanket up and covered herself. Aaron stood by the bed for a while and then left. At 9 o'clock, when they had finished breakfast and were preparing to head to the airport, Sylvia came over. Aaron frowned slightly when he saw her. What are you doing here? Why aren't you spending time with Jeremy? He asked. Sylvia curved her lips slightly downward. Brother, that wasn't something nice to hear. I know that you're going on a trip. You'll be gone for at least a week, so I came here especially to wish a bon voyage. She then smiled, took out the camera and said, By the way, I'm going to take a photo of you. This might be the last time I see you as a virgin. April burst out in laughter. Aaron immediately looked sullen, as even he wanted to throw his little sister into outer space. Don't gossip if you don't know anything. I've done it many times. The number is even higher than the number of your age. Did you hear that, my future sister-in-law? Sylvia winked at April. April had no idea how to go on with this awkward conversation. All right, we should get going. We'll bring you a gift. It was a long journey to the Whitsunday Islands. April barely planned a thing. After arriving at the airport, she simply followed behind Aaron. As they passed through the security check, Aaron abruptly paused, looked at her and said, Didn't you bring condoms? I didn't see any just now when we were passing the security check. Did you put them in your suitcase? I didn't bring any, April responded. She surely wouldn't have brought condoms. Before she had left, Yansu had strongly suggested that she bring some, but she had steadfastly refused. I thought you would bring some, so I didn't bring any myself, Aaron said with a frown. Don't you want to use condoms? Well, that would be uncomfortable indeed. April wanted to die as Aaron was talking to her about using condoms in the busy airport. Like you've ever used condoms? She said. Aaron glanced at her and said, I haven't, but I can imagine. April sighed. They hadn't left Rosewood City yet, but she was already feeling so tired. I think you shouldn't always think about that. It's our first vacation away together. There'll be lots of things that we can enjoy slowly, like watching the sunset, having a candlelight dinner at the seaside, or walking on the beach. Lots of things. Aaron thought for a moment, then nodded and said, You're right. There's a supermarket near the villa that I booked for us. We can shop for food together, then you'll cook for me. Mentioning cooking, he paused slightly as he worried that April might be unhappy to hear that, so he added, or I can cook for you. April was delighted. They had been boyfriend and girlfriend for quite a while, and finally, his EQ has improved a little. In the next 10 hours, the two of them flew to Melbourne, then changed planes for the flight to Hamilton Island. After arriving at the airport on the island and getting into the car the hotel had sent to pick them up, April was so tired that she couldn't even keep her eyes open. Seeing her like that, Aaron felt a little guilty. Do you think I should consider buying a private jet so we won't be so tired when we travel again? April hurriedly tried to make him give up the idea. I don't think you need to do that. You need to apply with the airlines if you're traveling by private jet. Flying abroad would be even more complicated. Besides, you'd need to hire reliable pilots. You'd be worrying whether or not the pilots were reliable enough. Episode 218, Marry Me. Aaron thought for a second and agreed with her. A while later, he said, Then we'll talk about that when we have kids. April was a little speechless, but also felt sweet. Welcome to Hamilton Island. The tour guide in the car smiled. You're a new couple here for a honeymoon, aren't you? You seem to be deeply in love with each other. I've never seen a couple who is such a perfect match and is as close as you are. Aaron smiled. He then opened his wallet, took out some cash, handed it to the tour guide, and said, Nice talk. Here's your tip. April glanced at the thin stack of cash. Those were Australian $100 bills, at least 1,000 in total. She felt that her heart was even bleeding. What did he say? Why did you give him so much money? She didn't understand. The tour guide paused for a second, then hurriedly took the cash and thanked him repeatedly. After that, he spent about 10 minutes complimenting Aaron and April, even praising April's clothes. At that, April couldn't bear listening anymore, so she changed the topic and asked the tour guide about the scenic spots near the island. Speaking of scenic spots, you have to visit Hart Reef. You'll be stunned when overlooking the sea view from the plane. According to the legends, the lovers who see Hart Reef together will be happy forever, said the tour guide. Really? Then we have to see it. Aaron held April's hand tightly and looked at her without blinking. April felt shy under his gaze, so she hurriedly turned her face away to look outside the window. On the way to the hotel, the tour guide talked about the history of the island and its previous owner. After hearing that, Aaron asked April a question. Do you want me to buy you an island? From buying a plane to buying an island, April now worried that he might be suggesting buying Hamilton Island if this topic continued. Are you here for shopping or a vacation? She asked. Hearing that, Aaron finally stopped talking. When it was almost dark, they checked in at the hotel. They booked a villa with an infinity pool, a balcony, and a beach. April liked the villa very much. The view from the balcony was already stunning. Without question, the views at the scenic spots would be even more beautiful. While she was enjoying the scenery, Aaron suddenly scooped her up. April uttered a scream and hurriedly put her arms around his neck. Aaron walked into the bedroom with big steps, then put her on the bed. April tightened her body and stuttered, We just arrived. Are you going to? I haven't even had dinner yet. What are you thinking about? Aaron pinched her nose and said, Didn't you say that you're tired? I carried you in so you can rest. Just get some sleep. Later I'll call room service. After filling your belly, we'll sleep. Tomorrow we'll go out for diving. April sighed in relief. Thankfully, he didn't ask to make love with her tonight. At the moment, she had no spare energy at all, so she guessed that she would act like a dead fish during lovemaking. He actually cared if she was tired, even though he was so looking forward to sex. April was really touched. She reached out her arms to hold his arm, saying, Let's get some sleep together. All right. Aaron was actually even more tired than she was. They both laid down and soon fell asleep. They planned to take only a nap, but when they woke up, it was already midnight. Aaron tried to wake April up to have some food, but she refused to get up and even wrapped herself up with the blanket to keep herself from being bothered by him. When she woke up again, it was already the next day. She didn't know when Aaron had gotten up, but she woke up to see him in shorts and a white t-shirt, looking quite energetic. It was the first time she had seen him in casual wear. He looked 5 or 6 years younger than before, and that made April freeze for a moment with surprise. You see me every day, but why do you still look so infatuated with me? Aaron was very satisfied with the way she gazed at him. That's not true. April blushed and said, I just like the suit that you're wearing now. Erin chuckled and responded, "My perfect body shape made it look good." "I'm going to take a shower," April said as she got up from the bed. Since they had come to the seaside where she could wear dresses, April would surely make herself look stunning. She picked an ethnic-styled long red cotton dress. It was difficult for most of the other girls to look nice in that dress. However, April was tall and slim, along with having snow-white skin, long, shiny hair, and a young, pretty face. She captured Erin's heart as she came out of the dressing room. Erin was going to complain about April not wearing a swimsuit, but after seeing her in that dress, he immediately shut his mouth. He sat quietly beside her, watching her do skincare process and makeup. When April started applying foundation under her eyes, he was still watching her, and she couldn't help but blush. "Can you go to the balcony to eat your breakfast?" she said. "No, I want to look at you." Erin fixed his eyes on her. "It's the first time I've seen you in a summer dress. How can you be so beautiful? Why didn't I meet you in the summer?" April's face turned so red that no foundation could hide it. "Why are you wearing foundation?" Erin continued. "You're already so pretty." "Because I didn't rest well on the plane on the way here, so I have these dark circles under my eyes," April responded shyly, pretending to not hear the last part of what Erin had said. "Yes, but you're so beautiful. Even the dark circles look good on your face. Stop doing your makeup. I like you natural." Erin took away her foundation. "But we're going to dive later. Is it okay for you to wear this?" "I wore the swimsuit underneath." Because of what Erin had said, April didn't insist on finishing her makeup. Afterwards, they sat on the balcony to have breakfast together. The sea breeze was gentle and the green seawater was crystal clear. 2 parrots landed on their table to peck at food. Breakfast was delicious and April hadn't been so relaxed in a long time. However, thinking about diving later, she got a little nervous and uneasy. "Later, can you dive alone? I'll wait for you at the beach. I've only tried snorkeling before. I'm afraid that I can't dive deep." "Why didn't you tell me that earlier?" Erin asked. "I didn't want to disappoint you, but I really have no courage to dive deep." April sighed helplessly. "Although I know that the underwater world is beautiful." "Yes, it is beautiful with the fish and coral. You should try. But if you really can't do it, we'll just forget about it." After saying that, Erin ate a piece of pineapple with an unhappy face. "And there's another thing." April hesitated for a moment and then said, "I know that you're rich, but you don't need to give the others such a big tip just because they've said something that you like to hear. Shouldn't waste your money like that." "I won't give my money to just anyone unless they say that we're a sweet couple or that we love each other," said Erin carelessly. "If every staff member on the island said that to you, would you pay them all? Maybe they'll figure out what you like and say the words on purpose. I'll bet that later on our way to the diving spot, the tour guide will say those words endlessly," said April. Erin thought for a few seconds and then pushed his wallet to her and said, "You'll be responsible for all of it." "I didn't mean that." "I don't care. From this day on, you'll be responsible for the cost." After saying that, Erin leisurely turned away to feed the parrots. April found this both delightful and annoying. If she had known how he was going to react, she wouldn't have said it. After breakfast, they went diving. On the way, the tour guide continued to compliment the two of them on how well suited they were to each other, just as April said he would. This time, April didn't tip him. The tour guide seemed to be disappointed and stopped complimenting them endlessly. Erin was disappointed as well. They went out to sea on a private yacht. April took out her phone to take pictures of herself and Erin, and then they started taking pictures of each other. April was not quite satisfied with Erin's photography skills, as she thought that she didn't look good enough in the photos that he took. Unlike her, Erin was very satisfied with the photos she took. He even set one of April's photos as the wallpaper on his phone, and then made April set one of his photos as her wallpaper. He also changed his Instagram profile picture to a photo of himself and April. After that, he still felt like it was not enough, so he posted 9 pictures on his Instagram Moments. In less than 5 minutes, a series of compliments was seen under those pictures. "You two are so pretty. Such a perfect match. Mr. Bennett, your girlfriend is gorgeous. So happy." Before long, dozens of comments were left for those pictures. Erin was very pleased, so he kept checking his Instagram Moment from time to time. April was quite speechless. She had never seen a man who enjoyed posting pictures on Instagram so much. She remembered that Erin wasn't keen on Instagram Moments before, but after they became boyfriend and girlfriend, he changed drastically. She silently wondered if the people who had seen his Instagram Moments would think that she had their boss enchanted. At last, she checked her Instagram moment and saw CEO Bennett had replied to all the comments. Thank you for the good words. She didn't know what to say about it. As they arrived at the diving spots, quite a few yachts had berthed nearby. This place was a popular diving spot. Many people had already begun diving. However, April's legs went limp the moment she saw the boundless ocean. Erin jumped into the water and taught her what to do. She gave it a try, but then gave up. Due to her poor physical conditioning, she felt quite stressed, so she refused to try diving again. However, she was willing to do some snorkeling. She didn't see the coral, but the seawater was limpid, so she was able to see all sorts of beautiful little fish swimming past her. She spent a while watching the fish, then raised her head to find Erin looking at her painfully. What's wrong? Just leave me here. Go dive and have fun. We don't come here every day, said April. Then you watch me go down, said Erin. I'll bring you some fish. After saying that, he dove into the water. April watched him diving toward the bottom of the sea until she couldn't see him anymore. A while later, she suddenly saw him coming up with 2 diving instructors, followed by a shoal of fish with white and yellow stripes. She was stunned by this breathtakingly beautiful scene that she had never seen before. Before touching the water's surface, Erin suddenly paused and took out a champagne rose from God knew where. After that, the diving instructor beside him spread a banner. The words on the banner were, "Marry me." The other instructor raised another banner, "I am fond of you." That happened so suddenly. April was astonished. She thought that her eyes were blurred, so she hurriedly raised her head from the water. Soon after, Erin bobbed up, took off the oxygen mask, and looked at her while gasping, "Why did you suddenly raise your head? We spent a great effort to drive those fishes between us. Talk." Seawater streamed down Erin's handsome face. "Why did you suddenly propose?" April stuttered. "Your virginity is so precious, I surely need to propose to you before having sex with you, or I'd be acting like an indecent man." Erin gazed at her seriously. Episode 219. Why did you put me up here? Under the sunlight, the water drops on his face glistened brightly. They dazzled April's eyes and made her feel dizzy. Her heart raced. When she had decided to give him her virginity, she had spent a long time preparing herself mentally. However, she didn't expect that he would actually think more of her and that he didn't want her to experience any tiny loss. In fact, whether in terms of family background or ability, he was excellent. A man like Erin could be with a woman who was way better than April, but he was so nice to April. April had had many unhappy experiences, but now she believed that God had made her live through all the unluckiness just so she could meet Erin, a better man. "Can you not be so touched and look at me without tearful eyes? Agree first." The waiting made Erin anxious. He had been through a lot of big occasions, but he was still nervous as this was the first time he had proposed to someone. "Who has tearful eyes? It's because of the seawater." April swam to his side, took the champagne and roses from his hands, gave him a beautiful grin, and said, "Yes." The nearby divers, who had had their eyes on them, immediately applauded and even started chanting, "Kiss, kiss, kiss." Only after hearing that did April realize that there were many people looking at her and Erin. She instantly blushed. "You see, they all want us to kiss." Erin smiled, put an arm around her waist, and aggressively pressed his wet lips against hers. The waves carried them up and down. Before this, Erin's kisses had always made April feel like she was showering in an ocean wave, and now it was really happening. In fact, this kiss now was like a sea storm. She tasted the salty seawater from his lips and mouth. After that kiss, she felt terribly dizzy. With no other choice, she coiled her limbs around his body like an octopus. Erin chuckled with satisfaction and said, "Things are different now that you've said yes to my proposal. You're holding me so tightly like a little girl." Seeing his proud face, April regretted accepting his proposal so soon. "I'm tired, okay? Swimming in the sea is very energy consuming, and I also have had such a crazy kiss with you." "Don't worry, I'll be all yours from this moment on. You can hold me in whatever way you like." Erin abruptly lifted her up and exposed her upper body in the air. This gave April a start, and she hurriedly put her arms around his neck and said, "All right, stop. People are watching. You proposed to me, so where's the ring?" "Don't worry, I have the ring. I'll put it on your finger." Erin began rummaging through his diving suit, a very proud smile, but soon the smile froze on his face. April spent a while quietly watching him look all over for the ring and then said, "You didn't lose it, did you?" Erin's face turned extremely dark. He had never been so embarrassed in his entire life. He had proposed to a girl, yet the ring was missing. It probably fell into the sea when I swam up earlier. Aaron glanced downward and said, I'll go down and find it. Don't, it's too dangerous. April stopped him. It's okay, I'm very strong, said Aaron. I almost touched the bottom of the sea just now. Diving to the bottom of the sea and trying to find something down there are two very different things. April refused to let him go. There are many scary things at the bottom of the sea. What if they entangle your feet? You're not a professional diver. I don't want an accident to happen to you right after we've gotten engaged. After all, it'll be a little hard for me to find a man as good as you. I've just proposed to you and now you want to find another man? Aaron instantly pulled a long face. I'm not going. That was exactly what April wanted. After nodding, she asked, What was it like? How many carats? 19, Aaron responded, upset. It means long-lasting love. Perfect love. 19 carats. April felt dizzy just hearing that number. Did she just miss a 19-carat diamond ring, which was worth over $100 million? God, what mistake must I have made in my previous life that caused me to lose such a precious ring? A while later, April said, Maybe you should still go down there and try to find it. Aaron didn't know what to say. Who just said that it would be dangerous? You see, it means long-lasting love and perfect love. It's really important for what it means, April mumbled. Are you sure you want me to find it because of its meaning, not because you've just learned about the 19 carats? Aaron sneered. April coughed. Of course not. Am I that kind of person? Aaron looked at her coldly until she became unconfident. However, they both had complicated feelings after all that had happened. At last, Aaron asked the diving instructors to find the ring. They spent a while trying but failed. In the end, they made a detour to visit Heart Reef both happily and sadly. The beautiful view from the airplane slightly eased April's regret, but Aaron still looked unhappy. That was the first proposal of his life, yet he lost the ring. Proposing in the sea was not a good idea. Only until they were heading back to the hotel did he become excited again. He had been waiting too long for tonight. Back at the hotel, he had a quick shower and then brought April to the supermarket. He planned to prepare a candlelight dinner with April by themselves, and then, after dinner, they would directly start doing the most important thing. April supported his idea. However, she started backing out when seeing all the strange food at the supermarket. This fish looks nice. Aaron bent over and picked up an odd-looking fish. I don't know how to cook it, said April. Well, how about this meat? I've never seen it before. This crab? I don't know what kind of crab that is. How come you don't know anything? Aaron frowned. April was displeased. I only know how to make some home-style dishes. I'm not a chef from a 5-star hotel. You should learn to cook when we get back, Aaron suggested. Do you not want to sleep in bed tonight? April gave him a cold glance. Aaron immediately shut up. At last they went to the hotel with 2 steaks and a frozen pizza. This time April didn't let Aaron cook. She prepared the wine and steak herself, and the two of them started dinner on the wooden table by the pool. The hotel had beautiful lights, so candles weren't needed. Under the starlight, April felt drunk even before tasting any wine. Cheers. April raised the wine glass. You can only take 1 sip, Aaron reminded her again and again. He believed that he mustn't let her get drunk tonight because he had experienced that last time. You don't need to remind me. I won't get drunk. She was awfully embarrassed because of what had happened last time. She took a sip of the wine, then put down the glass and started enjoying the sea view and the steak. Soon after she started eating, she found that Aaron had already finished the whole steak. April paused and said, Why did you eat so quickly? I finished it because it's delicious. Aaron stared at her like she was a piece of meat on a chopping board. You should eat quickly as well. It'll taste bad when it gets cold. April didn't believe him at all. She had never even seen him eat so quickly before. She cut and chewed the steak very slowly and carefully. As the gaze from the man sitting in front of her was getting more and more passionate, she became even more nervous and her face turned redder and redder under the dim light. Thankfully, the dim light perfectly hid the redness in her cheeks. After finishing the steak, she began drinking juice. The night breeze blew across her shiny hair and the hair whisked around her snow-white neck in a naughty manner, making her look especially attractive. Looking at her, Aaron felt that his heart was tingling because of those few strands of hair. He had always felt that she was beautiful, but tonight he found her even prettier than usual. He just wanted to hold her in his arms and kiss her as hard as he could. After finishing the juice, April stood up to tidy up the table. Aaron followed behind her while she was washing the dishes. He put his arms around her from behind and slowly kissed her neck. He wouldn't forget that just now her hair had been stroking this area to allure him. She had just taken a shower and had used the custom shampoo provided by the hotel. The floral fragrance in her hair was a little rich, but he liked it. He wanted to breathe deeply to inhale it, and he felt like he could never get enough of it. His kiss made April's neck tingle, and that tingly feeling spread to her entire body. The dish in her hands even began shaking. "Can you let me finish the dishes?" "You do the dishes, and I'll do the kisses. What's wrong with that?" Aaron continued in a husky voice. "What is this shampoo fragrance? It smells so good. We should buy some of that shampoo from the hotel." April blushed as she glanced back at him and said, "That's my perfume." Aaron blinked and asked, "Why haven't you worn it before?" April's face became even redder. She turned her face away and didn't say anything. "You wore it for me tonight to heighten the atmosphere, right?" Aaron's heart flipped. He immediately lifted April up and put her on the kitchen counter in excitement. "Why did you put me up here?" April was startled. She had heard that some people like to have sex in the kitchen. "Put me down. I haven't finished the dishes." "You've seduced me. I can't wait anymore." Aaron shook his head. "How did I seduce you? I was washing the dishes." April felt a little embarrassed. Aaron smiled and said, "Didn't you wear the perfume to seduce me?" "I remember that you used to hate women wearing perfume." April curved her lips downward and said, "When you were in the hospital for your rehabilitation therapy, you complained about the doctor's perfume. You said that the whole room was filled with that smell." "It happened so long ago. Are you still jealous?" Aaron lowered his head to look at her, wearing a big smile. "I've even forgotten what she looked like. I only remember your jealous face at the time." April was a little speechless. She hadn't liked him back then, so how could she have had a jealous face? "I was looking at my phone at the time. I didn't even look at you two." "Because you didn't dare to?" Aaron asked in an affectionate tone. April didn't know what to say. "April, she doesn't even have hair as good as yours. After meeting you, I realized that I hated women wearing strong perfumes only because they weren't you," said Aaron in a deep voice. Hearing that, April's heart thumped. Episode 220. Do you think I can get a full mark? That was so touching. Did he actually have honey for dinner instead of steak? April felt that she really couldn't keep washing the dishes and pretending nothing had happened. Neither could Aaron let her go back to the dishes. He lowered his head to kiss her passionately. He held her firmly with one arm while his hand went to her back and unzipped her dress. When her dress quickly fell to the floor, he silently praised himself for making a good decision to come to the seaside for vacation. The weather was hot, so people wore less clothing. For that reason, he was able to strip her so conveniently and quickly. It was perfect for beginners like him. Wait. April dodged his kiss and stuttered. "We're on the kitchen counter. Is this good?" "Can't we do it here?" Aaron had fire in his eyes. April's heart missed a beat. Having her first time on the kitchen counter? That was way too wild, and she didn't think she could accept it. "It's our first time. Can't we do it in a normal way?" she said. "Silly, I was kidding. I'll put you on the bed later. Trust yourself with me." Aaron smiled. His handsome face was filled with a pleased look. April spent about 10 seconds gazing into his eyes and then took a deep breath, nodded, and put her arms around his neck. He lost a super expensive ring today, and that made him seem to be unreliable, but she believed that he was normally a reliable person. Aaron lowered his head slightly and kissed her again. As their lips pressed on to each other, the passionate love immediately set both April's body and heart on fire, making her limbs go limp. Aaron seized the opportunity to kiss her exposed skin. She was still sitting on the kitchen counter, so he could kiss her entire body very easily. As he kissed her lower legs, April felt as if her soul had escaped her body. They had lots of physical intimacy before, and thanks to that, he knew everything about the sensitive areas of her body. The lights above the kitchen counter shone on her jade-like skin. Aaron's eyes turned so dark he couldn't hold back any more, so he lifted her and headed toward the bedroom. The lights in the bedroom were off. The bright moonlight and the light from the backyard poured in, dimly illuminating the room. Aaron reached out a hand to turn on the light, but April hurriedly stopped him and said shyly in a low voice, "Don't turn on the light. I'm shy." "What's to be shy about?" I've already seen every part of you, said Aaron without thinking. I'm shy. Do you have a problem with that? April pinched his waist crossly. The pain shut Aaron up. He decided to leave the lights off. After putting her on the bed, he kneeled by her side, slowly taking off his clothes. She had never been so shy. April blushed and turned her face away as if it was her first time seeing his body. She didn't look at him until he slowly laid upon her. Her heart thumped and her entire body was trembling. He felt how nervous she was. With patience, he comforted her and kissed her and didn't make the final penetration until she was completely relaxed. He had secretly read some guides before coming here. However, as it was the first time for both of them, problems still occurred. I can't see clearly, Aaron complained. After spending a while trying, April suddenly found that Aaron's entire body had stiffened. She was puzzled for a second and then asked, Are you done? Aaron clenched his teeth and looked at her. April burst out laughing and said, Didn't you always brag about your sexual endurance? Didn't you say that you can't kill the others in that area? I didn't lie. I was nervous because it was my first time. We should have kept the light on, Aaron said as he turned on the bedside lamp. April covered her face as the light pierced her eyes. Her body was pink and her voice was as slight as the voice of a mosquito. Maybe we should try again some other time. No need, I'm alive again, Aaron snorted coldly, fell on top of her and began biting her lips. April gaped. It's too soon. Not even lightning is as quick as you. As I said, I can kill the others, Aaron snorted. This time, as the light was on, Aaron washed away all the shame. At first, it was very painful for April. Aaron had done a lot of preparation, but still, April bit his shoulder because of the pain. He bent over and lowered his head to find her lips with his, then he kissed her gently with extra patience. Only after she gradually relaxed did he free his own body. After that, April felt as though she were being thrown on top of a giant wave and then into the clouds. They had done intimate things before. However, after this really happened, they realized that what they had done before was nothing real. When the real thing happened, the pleasure was so strong that their minds were even blurred. Of course, April felt like weeping, but she had no tears when the pleasure went beyond the limit. Her eyes stayed dry, especially when Aaron kept asking her a series of questions, probably because of the shame that he felt after the first try. Did I kill Isaac? Did I kill Ryan? Are they as good as I am? Are they better than I am? April even wanted to kill this shameless guy. God knew if they were good or not. She had never slept with another man. He was so unreasonable. She did nothing but laugh at him just now. She couldn't help it. She laughed at him because he always bragged. The facts proved that no one should give a man verbal stimulation about his sexual capacity. When it was finally done, April felt drained. She couldn't even lift her limbs. She had gone many places today and had also tried diving, so she was already exhausted. Now her whole body was sore. She wanted very much to sleep, but didn't let herself because she was hungry. As Aaron wiped her body with a warm towel, she raised her red face, looked at him with a pair of pitiful, watery eyes, and said to him in a complaining tone of voice, Hungry.